Sports New Online Radio Station. WNB1 Radio Broadcasting live 24/7. All music genres. WNB1 Radio. Your urban music link.
Hey. This is WNB1 Radio, and this is Straight to the Point Sports Talk. What's going on there, Steve?
Another week of sports. We got a
Hey.
looking crew here. Derek don't look the same this week. I know it's Derek.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, there's no I in team, but we got an I in Derek, right? He's here today.
Oh,
That's right.
yeah.
He's here, so
Hey,
we got
man,
the I in
I'm
Derek
just happy
today.
to be here regardless.
I have big shoes to fill here. Decon.
Oh, yeah, he's a size 14 and a half. So
Appreciate you guys asking me to join the show today.
No, this is
always
good.
a pleasure to
This
link
is
up.
good company. And I'm filling in for the CEO, and that's hard to do, you know. What do you think, Steve?
He
You
put
wanna-
in some time this morning with that interview with him and J9 and the Paul Santos interview. But Brian's a busy man, man. He can't be here every week, so
It was the
we ain't gonna miss a beat.
it was like the Beauty and the Two Beasts, right?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, Derek Kahn, he was a two beast, but
No, I'm talking about J9 and
oh yeah,
That was a good show.
Yeah, that was a good show.
You know,
It was I like that. I hope they do more of that, you know, interviews of people in the community, especially people with shows like Paul Santos. It just gets us out in a little broader audience, and I like it, you know.
and there's so many things going on in the community, whether people have been doing it for a while, like Paul, or upstart people that are doing their thing now. And everybody deserves their shine. You know,
Right. Yeah,
not everybody
true.
knows everybody's story, how they got to where they are now, but they need to be have the light shine on them a few times.
So what's going to happen? Like Paul Santos is hosting a comedy show, and he does say jokes. You're going to let him go? You're just going to let him flow while he's hosting the whole show?
Oh, once he introduces the hypnotist, there's no intermission.
You know, so you're going to let Paul just do his thing? Is he funny?
We'll find out.
Of course he's funny.
Yeah, well, I
The
mean,
Paul
I've never seen him
Santos
do a stand-up. I've caught in like 2-minute monologues when he does his
Yeah, I've seen him on the show.
Yeah.
The show that he
You
does.
you know, but I mean, whatever time he needs to, get the night started, and then until we bring on the main event, I'm sure he'll do fine.
I'm only busting his
Chops.
yeah, chops. Excuse the pun, chops. Yeah, that's going to be great. I think you selected a good host, a good entertainer, like with Frank Santos Jr., the hypnotist, comedian himself. I think it's going to be real good.
We're always
And,
looking to branch out and do new things. Like we do very well with the comedy shows, and people like them. But this is a different twist.
Yeah, definitely.
A comedic hypnotist, and when you see some of the things that Frank Santos Jr. is capable of doing, you're gonna laugh just as hard, if not more, than when we do a straight comedy show. It's unbelievable.
I'm excited. I've
Oh.
seen some advertisement on it. I've never seen him before, so I'm
Yeah.
excited to watch.
It'll definitely be an experience.
I'll definitely have at least one table, maybe two again.
Oh, damn. I just
All
got
right.
rid of another one today. So, hey, we're a month away, and we're probably, if you have a table, we're going to be up to 5 tables with a month to go.
Yeah.
People, do not wait. There's tables of 8. There's tables of 10. Once those tables are gone, we can't, wave a magic wand and make more, show
Right.
up. But you have all this time just because it's a month away. You want to sit close. Some people like to chill in the back. You got your choice right now. As they go, you get in where you fit in, but you're not going to want to miss it because you're definitely going to hear about it.
You're definitely a fun night.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
Definitely. I'm actually, I know I'm gonna have one table, 2 probably. We'll see by the end of next week where I'm at, but I don't want to wait that long. So hopefully I can have some numbers for you, and that way.
What was funny was not even trying to push it hard, but I was like, what groups do I belong to? And of course, you got a family table,
Mhm.
an employee table, people you work with. But then I went back and I was in my high school reunion talking about another event, and I started inviting people I went to high school with.
Yeah.
And now we got one table committed with others on the way, but
Yeah.
they just haven't committed yet. They haven't
Yeah.
got, but that was 3 easy tables. Like, we all have family, we all have coworkers,
Mhm.
and we all, have people in high school that we went to that it gives us an opportunity instead of waiting every 5 years for a high school reunion. So
true.
I just think it's going to sell out before people know.
Yeah, they'll be upset, but we gave them fair warning, right?
Yeah, and they won't miss other events in the future when we tell them.
All right, let's get to business.
Let's
here.
go.
I mean, that's business, but let's talk about sports business. All right, we got some sports business, and we're gonna first talk about Cam Newton. Cam Newton,
He's playing
well,
Patriots
he's
again?
playing something, but
some 7-on-7, right?
yeah, I had some good expectations for him, but it didn't work out. So, anyways, the man is contributing away from football.
Working with our youth.
Yep, doing great things. All the stuff that you want somebody to do. You want people to, if they're capable, to reach out to the community, be a big mentor. And he's been doing that, and I think he's been doing it in 2 communities. I think he was also doing something in California, but anyways, he's contributing something. It's a sports camp, and I kind of like it because everyone goes and you get to see the young athletes perform at their best.
Somebody who's made it to the top level. He's played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So how many times do you get to rub shoulders with somebody that's going to teach you? You're going to take it more serious. That's somebody who made it to the top.
Mhm.
He's played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, and he's willing to give back. So,
Yeah. So,
So can I ask? Because maybe there's other people out there that don't know,
Mhm.
like myself. So he running a camp for kids, or is it like a league? Like what?
7-on-7 league.
7-on-7 league.
No equipment.
Yep.
But
For high school kids.
and it's a great tool for a lot of things, for collegiate football players. I mean, collegiate coaches, just to see someone's skills that may not have been noticed. So it's almost like a Columbine, right? So they're down there doing their thing, and it's great. I mean, if I seen pieces of like some things that were similar to that when I was in Florida, spring football, so on and so forth, and they were great. I mean, it bring crowds, and with Cam Newton there and all those other stars that are down there, there's going to be a bunch of people there. But I was very sad about and disappointed with not Cam, with the other staff members that were down there from what's it, Wee Ball Sports, and I just think that those staff members, which was why am I coming up with TSP for some reason, their organization. Well, anyways, I was a little upset because what was going on there was some kind of beef, right? Not a
they
beef.
used to work together.
Yeah.
And then they split off and went their own ways. So now they want to show Cam they can do it better than him. Cam wants to show he's got the best organization.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This 7-on-7 league is a tournament.
Yeah.
Right? It's the equivalent in basketball like the high school AAU games. It's all stars.
Yep.
But there's only 7 people so that there's not as much contact and the scoring is more wide open. You got 2 wide receivers, 1 running back, 2 offensive linemen, a quarterback, and 1 running back. But it's meant to score high paced, but it's showcasing elite players. These people that they were the number 1 and number 2 ranked teams in the tournament, but they at one time worked together.
Yeah.
So they want to beat each other to show who's on top. Got a little verbal jousting back and forth, that happens in every sport.
Yeah.
There's always trash talking,
Right.
but it should never get to the level where it ever gets physical.
Not at that age, Cam Newton's age.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, kids in their 20s, I think they kind of go at it sometimes, whatever. But I mean, when you get to be in your 40s, I feel like, you need to learn to like either walk away, stop talking, like,
Yeah. And I think hasn't gone away from that as far as his personality, character. It's been nonstop. And you kind of think of it, the guy was bred to be a football player. and he was always talking smack.
Being very competitive.
Yep. I mean, I think there's not even plays where he got his bell rung. He still got up and still talking, right? And that's just in his nature. That's just him. And I think regardless if he was talking crap, he was doing that. He didn't need to be getting punched in the face from all angles, from the back of the head, the front of the head.
Especially with people you have a former relationship with.
Yeah.
So you should be able to trash talk because you know the people on the other side.
Yeah.
And I think there was an ulterior motive. I don't think that the trash talking bothered them.
Yeah.
Maybe their pride got a little hurt. The trash talking stung a little more. But you want to tell them what you think the ulterior motive might have been?
Yeah, I think it was robbery, period.
Win, lose, or draw, they planned on getting in Cam Newton's pockets because he's the cash cow.
Yeah.
These guys haven't got to the level, made the money he's made.
So you think they had a falling out, and then they decided, like, you know what,
maybe
we're going to
rob
rob
them.
them.
Make as much money as they thought they should have made working with Cam.
Mm-hmm.
Cam's the breadwinner. Maybe they thought enough money wasn't trickling down.
Yeah.
Cam's already got money. He doesn't need to make money. So they probably know his ins and outs too. Yeah. They work. Cam doesn't go with an entourage. Cam's a physically big dude. He's 6'5", 240, whatever.
Yeah.
But just being in his hometown, Cam doesn't feel the need to have security. He's at a youth football tournament. And these guys probably saw that as the best opportunity to like take advantage of him.
Right.
No drinking on the show.
I'm done, man. I'm all done with the alcohol.
No drinking. I didn't realize how big Cam was. I mean, I knew he was big, but I actually seen Shannon Sharpe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know how big he is. They were just before the Super Bowl. They were on a show, and they stood side by side. And when I seen how big Cam is compared to Shannon, who I already thought
height-wise,
was
Shannon
a massive, And I said, "Whoa, that's a big dude, man. That is a big dude." So, the bottom, I'm going to take Cam Newton's side on this. And regardless if he was chirping initially, I just think that Cam has nothing to prove anymore. He doesn't have anything to prove to anybody. These coaches that were there and trying to do something, they have something to prove, right? They have to prove that their stock is respectable, especially later on. I mean, it's the beginning of these 7-on-7s, right? They're going to start from now until probably June and July. And they're going to either do it indoors, outdoors, but it's going to be going on. So now here it starts at the beginning stage of the first month or so. And now they got to go out and try to advertise for their next event.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a kid, I would think twice about sending them to, was it?
Got to worry about safety.
Yeah. I mean, it's, but I think it was robbery only because if you look at the video, there's a dude that came out of nowhere and he's reaching down towards the ground. You also mentioned that, someone did what?
There was a video posted on social media of a guy, little bruised up, mouth bleeding, but holding up a wad of money.
Yeah.
And saying, I took a punch. He might have drew some blood and lumped me up, but it was worth it. So you're willing to put your physical safety in danger.
Yeah.
But the payout was you came out of it with money. So that tells me the motive was they were looking for money.
Yeah.
And, probably a little bit of PR. So,
but I mean, that's not like good PR. I mean, that's not good,
And that's what I'm saying. Like,
but people know their names
as
now.
parents. How are we gonna? We're gonna think twice about sending our kids there, right? Because here it is, they're robbing someone that they know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And quote unquote that they're robbing somebody, right? They're robbing him. Now, could you imagine another kid goes in there with anything, any kind of, good kicks, outfit, whatever? Is he going to get robbed too? Is he going to go on the field and come back to wherever his locker is and find things missing?
The argument for that would be there was never no beef between the players. So the players don't feel intimidated by the other players or unsafe being around the other players. These were the grown adults that were involved, which was bad for the sport because you're supposed to be setting the precedent laying an example, trying to foster a learning environment where you're educating kids on how to play football. Whatever happened to not just learning how to be competitive, but learning respect for the opponent, learning how to carry yourself as a professional. All that went out the window. And I don't think I'd want my child to play for either one of those organizations. There's other leagues out there.
Yeah.
But I don't want none of that circus stuff happening.
So true.
Especially when you're paying to be a part of it.
I completely agree with that.
And Charlie, I think you were right. You said you thought it said TSP?
Yeah.
Top Shelf Performance.
Yep. See. All right.
That was the name of the rival AAU team that was playing against Cam Newton's team, CN1.
So when you guys said that we were going to talk about this today or last night, right? I started Googling so I can read up on the. So I listened to this thing with Jason Whitlock.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very controversial.
Yeah.
Yes.
Him on ESPN.
Yes. So he had kind of like a different take a little bit, and
of course he always does.
He always does. But I do enjoy listening to him, get a different side of things, whatever. He was like, his podcast that I listened to today must have been at least 20 minutes long. Yeah. But he was beating up Cam about like the hat, and he draws this attention, and that he's not a good role model for kids, adult fighting, and that was kind of his message or his take on the whole thing.
And see, that's Whitlock's out of touch. He's out of touch with everything, his culture, everything.
A lot of athletes won't go on his show,
right.
and won't let him interview him because he puts a different spin on things because he wants that controversial edge to kind of cause more drama to make you listen more.
Right.
When Cam used to just wear his hair out, that was a problem. So he puts a hat on. Guess what? The hat is part of his business. That's his company. He make every hat he wears. It's his. It's his story. It's his brand. And he's like that hat. Well, hey, here's my card. Or go to CamNewton.com, whatever it is, right, and buy my hat. And
all the uniforms were his.
Everything.
That was all his brand.
So for Whitlock to even say something like that, he's just chirping. He's just running his mouth, and then maybe he needs another person like Stephen A. Smith to chew him out a little bit for another week or so, because Whitlock, I like him.
I used to
years ago.
Yeah,
I don't like him now.
He was very knowledgeable. Then he just went in a different direction.
It's hard for me to listen to him. And I'm like you, Derek. I'm a person that wants to hear that other side. So, but I already discredited him, so it's just totally I cannot listen to him.
And that was he was the first person that when I clicked on it.
Yeah.
So I listened to
Yeah. Well, he knows he knows what those key words are, right?
Right.
So
keeps you in tune. Keeps you listening, right?
There's a reason he's no longer involved with either ESPN or Fox.
Yeah.
Right. Because he kind of went too far to make himself look good at the expense of other people.
Right.
Yeah. So Jack Nagier says hello to us.
Jack, very loyal, week to week.
Yeah, he is. So I try to tell everybody on every show that I'm on. I tell them, Jack's the dude. He's always trying to support.
My buddy Chris Chapin chimed in up there too.
Yeah, he says
the Wicked Witch hat.
They wanted a Wicked Witch, the West hat. He was rocking.
We're gonna get.
Cam's always been that flamboyant type that likes a one of a kind style.
Yeah.
So I think he designs his stuff with that in mind. Like it's going to grab attention, whether you like it or not.
Right.
People are talking about it.
Right. Yeah. He's got look at me type. But a lot of these athletes do it now.
Mm-hmm.
You watch an NBA game like ESPN, like
a stylist with wild
inside
outfits. Russell Westbrook and them.
Like inside the NBA, you're watching that, and they show the players entering the arena,
and I can't believe
they all got this fashion shit on. Like, so it's just something that these guys do nowadays.
Yep. Yeah. A lot of them getting sponsored by certain companies now. Wear my stuff.
Right. Yeah. Right.
It's going to be free, and I'm going to pay you on the side to wear it. But I think this whole society now is a look at me, because I'm in a high school environment. When I go to the games and stuff like that, I don't see like back in the day and when we all played sports coming up, we played together. We won together. We lost together.
Yep.
There wasn't no eyes. There were star players here and there that got more notoriety than others. But if we lost, the whole team was upset. And don't you dare talk. Now it's more of a case where people just want to look good in the process. If I win, great. If I lose, as long as I looked good losing, I'll see kids lose by 30 points talking about, did you see my steal and dunk?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That was one play. You lost by 30 points.
Yeah.
What are you bragging about?
Right.
No. Yeah,
But this
I
whole
agree.
culture now is more of an attention-seeking culture, and it's more individual than team-oriented. And I think that's the downfall of today's sports.
We see it throughout, right? Like
Yeah.
football,
Everything.
you're down,
Celebrating
25
everything.
points, and you score a touchdown. You're like, I mean, dude, to get,
You see teams getting blown out in bowl games, and one guy scores, and
That's- yeah.
look at the scoreboard.
yeah, right.
It's 40-0. Like, what are you celebrating?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is different. It's so different. I'm not a fan of AAU, even though I coached in AAU for about 3 years, and but I just don't like the way it's going now. And
Costs kids a lot of money to be involved.
yeah,
in AAU.
yeah, and
Unless you're lucky enough to have a sponsor, they'll tell you right up, these are dues, league dues, or team fees, and then they travel all over the place.
hotels.
You go to watch your kid play. The games aren't just like New Bedford versus Dartmouth.
Yeah,
It's like New Bedford versus Boston, New Bedford versus Rhode Island.
Mhm.
Then you're going to
Yep.
New York.
a lot
Parents
of
wanna
money.
go follow their kids, man. That's a long trip and hotel and everything.
It's a money grab.
It is.
It's just total
Yeah, it
money
is.
grab.
It's
Uniform, sneakers,
because
travel costs. Better
coaches.
pay for that transportation.
Yeah, I
Bust
just
these kids
don't-
here and there.
I don't care for it any longer, and and it takes away from our local sports. I think all three of us here are very proud of seeing the local sports. Basketball around this area. We like to go to our high schools around here and see a good game. And I'm not saying there are good games throughout the county, right? But you just think about those.
But we always had
those
pride.
dozen.
Those from New Bedford
Yeah.
always did well against the so-called bigger teams. Once we started playing the Boston teams and all these other teams in every sport, back in the 80s and 90s, New Bedford High was competing for state championships or winning state championships. And they were always one of the best football teams, one of the best basketball teams, one of the best track teams, one of the best baseball teams. Now we're not seeing that no more.
No.
Because AAU kids are getting recruited and going to boarding schools,
Right.
going to the Tabor academies,
Right.
and all these other schools. If a kid is good as freshman or sophomore year, he's on somebody's radar already. And then the prep schools are recruiting them, and then they get an extra year because they reclassify.
Right.
So you get 5 years to make a name in high school sports rather than 4. And that might work for some people, but I'm in the agreement that it takes away from building a group team because these kids played together all this time. Then they get to high school, they play 1 year, and then the main dude gets recruited, the second best dude gets recruited.
Yeah.
That just happened to New Bedford High last year. They lost their point guard, Demarius Roberts.
Yep.
He got recruited away. Dartmouth High School, Aiden Smith got recruited away.
Right.
Yeah.
Those teams would have been really good this year if
Yeah, if you
could've
put-
kept them all together.
Yeah.
You put that kid on Dartmouth High, like who knows what they do, right?
Yeah.
Yes, because he was a leader from the point guard position, and to me, that's their vulnerability right now.
Right.
Because he controlled who got the ball where. He was the quarterback of the
But
team.
plus he can score. Like he was just
He could score, but he also, I felt like he was a leader. Like
right.
the kid Hunter is going to be the leading scorer, but I thought that Aiden was the engine that made the team go.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you kind of took the heart and soul away. You still had a talented player, but he's not super vocal, super loud. People respected Aiden. They liked Aiden, and he was able to get people's attention and motivate them just like a coach on the floor.
Yeah.
That's a hard piece to miss.
Great kid. But that's one of the reasons why I dislike AAU, and I'm probably going to stand by it because it's not going to change. It's going to probably stay the same or even get worse. So, all right, let's talk about the NFL Columbine. Something.
Oh, yeah. The rookies are all in Indianapolis this weekend at the NFL Combines, Thursday through Sunday, but today's just the defensive ends. And I saw some big dudes running 40-yard dashes that I don't want chasing me.
Yeah.
And all our teams, who's your team there? You a Loco fan?
I like the Patriots.
All right, you can sit next to Charlie because obviously
see
Charlie's known to bail on some of our local
see
teams.
what's on the back of this jersey.
Yeah,
See what's in the front, number 6 for Super Bowls. And my man Belichick is in the back.
Wow.
Just
He's in
getting.
the back now, too, looking for a job.
I know he's
He
never
just filled out an application.
he's
waiting
definitely
till after
not
the
worried.
show, see if he can get on.
He would get denied for unemployment benefits quickly, right?
But the defensive ends unbelievable how big, how fast, how strong these guys are.
Mhm.
Now, I didn't see like the bench press numbers because they
True.
do all that. When I tuned it in after I got out of work, they were running the 40-yard dash.
Mhm.
And my team needs defensive ends or interior linemen. So I was specifically interested in this part of it. And I'll take 3 or 4 of those defensive ends because our best defensive player, Daniil Hunter, is a free agent who might be too costly for us to keep.
I think so. I think you're definitely going to
But
lose
you got
him.
that kid Dallas Turner from Alabama, Javon Curse. I mean, not Javon Curse, but the kid's last name is Jared Curse from Florida State.
Mhm.
I can't say the Hawaiian kid's name from UCLA. He had a little shoulder injury. But I'll take any one of those 3 at defensive end.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, everybody's going offense at the beginning because the first 3 picks are going to be quarterbacks. And then you got all those wide receivers. So I feel even if we don't move, we get our pick of the best defensive player rather than the 3rd best quarterback, the 3rd best wide receiver, the 3rd best offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Offensive linemen are also going to be real huge. You got Joe Alt from Notre Dame and you got Fashanu from Oklahoma State.
Mhm.
I mean Penn State. So you got 2 good offensive linemen. You got the 3 quarterbacks. You got 3 wide receivers. So I think if Minnesota stands pat and doesn't mortgage the farm, we get one of those top defensive players that I saw running today on a rookie contract for about 4 or 5 years. So if you need defense this year and you're not at the front of the draft, don't worry about it. The offensive people, they got to move up. But the thing I don't like about this, though, a lot of the big names aren't competing.
Hmm.
They're not running.
Yeah.
Or they're not doing, the quarterbacks aren't throwing because they feel like they can't increase their stock anymore.
Right.
All they can do is go down.
Right.
So just like you see people not playing in the bowl games, they're afraid to get hurt because that will lower their stock. I got to talk about I hurt my ankle. Or this.
Mhm.
Now people are like, oh, we're going to draft him a little later because we don't know how he's going to respond from injury.
Yeah.
So people don't want to take no risk. But the quarterbacks, they're going to go 1, 2, 3 no matter what. So all 3 of them are like, we're not.
And I think that after those first 3 picks,
It's interesting.
most of the other quarterbacks will probably go to the end of the 2nd round.
And I don't think that's going to happen because people are so quarterback hungry. And all these teams, like look at what the San Francisco 49ers just did. Brock Purdy was the last person drafted. He was on a very low rookie contract.
Right.
So guess what? Because of what you're paying him, you can pay a McCaffrey. You can pay a Deebo Samuel. You can pay a Joey Bosa.
Mhm.
So you have to win while you have a rookie quarterback. That seems to be the formula. Because once you got, the only one that's bucking the system is Kansas City. Mahomes, deservingly so, to me is the best quarterback in football and should get that money. But all these other quarterbacks that are trying to reset the market because of what he got, they don't have his talent.
Mhm.
But they just I want every quarterback is now the newest, highest paid. And I had that debate with Brian last week. I don't think Dak Prescott, who's asking for $60 million, and we'll probably get it for Dallas, just because that will be more than what the last highest quarterback paid.
Mhm.
But you haven't achieved what that last quarterback did. What's the difference between him and Jared Goff? Jared Goff got further than him. They had very similar numbers.
Yeah.
Is Jared Goff getting that type of money?
Jared Goff on the Cowboys
Would
go
do
a
the
whole
same
lot
thing
further.
Yeah, maybe. But that's what I'm saying is nobody's saying Jared Goff deserves that money. But Jared Goff took his team to the NFC Championship.
Mhm.
Dak Prescott hasn't sniffed the NFC Championship.
But it's Dallas though.
But that's the
It's
reason.
Jerry Jones. It's
Dallas
Dallas. It's
has
like,
the money
right.
and the TV
Right,
contract,
right,
and
right.
they have the money to give that. But at what expense? There's a salary cap. Once you run out of money, I mean, it went up $30 million this year.
Mhm.
So what is the NFL? And everybody says people
That-
get paid
I
based
think
on
that-
what the owners make. You
Yeah.
think the players are making a lot of money
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they're the millions they're getting, but the owners are getting billions. So the owners, the players look at it and say, well, if they're making billions, I want my fair share because I'm helping them make those billions.
Right.
And you add all those contracts together in the NFL for the players, it's under 3%
Of what the owners are making.
owners are making.
Because the owners don't only make money off the attendance and the ticket sales, all the concessions and the
Merchandise,
sales of the
everything.
merchandise,
Right.
parking, TV revenue sharing. The NFL, that's why Jerry Jones is the only team that doesn't follow under the NFL profit sharing. He
Mhm.
sued the NFL years ago when the NFL had all Nike gear.
Yeah.
He had Reebok because Reebok paid him more.
Mhm.
You know,
Really? So he's the only team that.
yeah, they don't share none of their sales, but they don't share in the profit sharing of the NFL. So all those TV contract monies and stuff that gets divided among all the teams in the league except for Dallas.
Really? I did not know that.
Because
Yeah,
they're like, we're the number one sales in the league. The Cowboys for a long time have sold
Yeah.
the most merchandise. Why are we sharing? At the time, he used Jacksonville Jaguars when they weren't good. They can't even, sell out their stadium halfway. But we put all our attendance, ticket money, and TV money in a pot, and we split it equally. Well, the Cowboys are selling out no matter who they play everywhere.
Right.
But then Jacksonville's lowering the money, like they're not contributing to the pot, so they feel like they're better off by themselves,
Right.
taking their chances. They don't need the NFL to be successful. Dallas does very well being America's team with all the TV. They're still the number one draw on TV.
Listen, we're talking about him right now, right? We're talking about Dallas right
But
now.
there's good reason to talk about them because they don't need the support of the
Yeah.
NFL. They can do their own thing, and they're fine. But
Rodney Victor says kid from Georgia, which I think is, you already mentioned him, was the defensive end.
You said from Fall River?
Well, he said Far River. I think he made a mistake and meant to say Georgia, but let's see. Yeah, he says.
Well, there's a couple of kids from Georgia, but not defensive ends that I think are going to be in the top pick because the Hawaiian kid is from UCLA. They said he's the most talented, but he has injury concerns. His senior year, he had some shoulder problems. They have to see how his medicals check out here. And if they're comfortable, his performance is off the charts. The defensive end from Lo'i Latu, as I think how you say his name. But the kid Curse from Florida State, and my favorite is Dallas Turner from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
They're all explosive. If we lose Danielle Hunter, who's going to command $25 to $30 million a year, and we get a guy who can be somewhere close to that as a rookie, that's like resetting our salary cap to get needs. So if I can get a Dallas Turner and at pick 11, everything's structured, he might only make $5 million a year for the first 4 years because everything's slotted where you get picked. You don't even go. That's why there's no holdouts no more. The NFL got smart and said, wherever you get picked, this is your pay.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why there's no more holdouts in the NBA or the NFL.
It's amazing that the NFL, these guys come like the rookies and they have such a big impact, right? And sometimes not always the quarterback because it depends, unless it's like top tier quarterbacks. But and like NBA, sometimes unless you're a stud, it takes a little time to get there. Football is like right away.
A lot of times in basketball and stuff, the worst. Look at what happened to Victor Wembanyama this year.
Mm-hmm.
He might be the best rookie, but he has no help.
No.
Right.
So he's going to put up all these stats, but everybody's going to say those stats are bloated because you're the only thing in town in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Whereas Chet Holmgren is on the team with the best record in the West with OKC.
Right.
Because they have a supporting cast. So he doesn't have to put up gaudy numbers. All he has to do is contribute. They might need him to rebound and block shots more, but we got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's an MVP candidate, who can do the majority of the scoring. They got the other kid, Jalen Williams, who they drafted the year after, the same year as Chet Holmgren, because they had 2 picks.
Yeah.
They hit on 2 first-round picks in one draft.
Yeah, that was a
Great draft.
Great strategy by
and they're
grabbing
all
all those.
nobody's on a super high pick because they're all 5 years or younger.
Yeah. Not yet.
Gilgeous-Alexander he's gonna sign a big one. This is his last year of
Yeah.
but he's top 5 MVP.
Right. He could be like the
Averaging
max
30
or
a game.
whatever it is that he's,
But this happened before in OKC. What happened? They had Durant, Westbrook,
Yep.
Harden.
and the big man.
Paul George, they had 2.
No, not at the same time.
They had Harden.
Yeah, they did.
Harden, no. Paul George came as a result of a trade.
Oh, yep.
But
Yeah,
they
right.
had
I'm
Harden.
They had
sorry.
those 3.
Westbrook,
Sorry.
and then they had the big dude that was the center.
Yeah.
Adams.
No, the brother there, he was like 6'10".
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
But they all got drafted, and Sam Presti was the GM, who's now in. I think he's in Philadelphia now. But so good at drafting. But then all those guys got off their rookie contracts, and they couldn't keep them all.
Right.
So all of them are gone. But they retooled. They acquired so many draft picks, in those trades. Then they acquired Paul George. Then they dumped Paul George, more draft picks. That's why OKC has 1 million draft picks right now.
Right.
Still,
But they're hitting on their draft picks. They haven't made no mistakes on their draft picks.
I mean, that Alexander kid,
That's
like,
right.
Yeah, but they're a small market team.
Ibaka.
Yeah. Yep.
Robert Davis is it.
That's a great Vikings fan right there.
He's all right, you know.
He's a Vikings fan. He's great.
I am very I'm proud of that dude.
Skol! Serge Ibaka.
Eventually he's gonna be rich because he has a Randy Moss doll about this big. Probably worth some money.
But all those stars accumulated on one team, all with 5 years or less. But OKC's a small market team, so they can't afford to pay people.
Right.
They don't have the huge NBA contract like an LA market, a Boston market. So those guys leave for greener pastures in the bigger markets because the TV deals and the endorsements are added onto your contract.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
you don't have to get $40 million a year to play ball, but you're going to get it from other sources.
Yeah.
Ain't no TV commercials coming out of OKC or movie roles or.
Yeah.
I think OKC is legit, and before you start saying about any other team in the West, well, wait, we're jumping around. Let's get back to that later.
Right? All right.
Because Derek's key point is NBA news. Unless you want to go into that right now.
Well, what were we just talking about? We
started with the
NFL,
combine,
the NFL.
Combine.
All right. Well, the NFL combines. This is where a lot of people made their money on the first half of the showcase, which was the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
There's already been a couple of names thrown out there, which is where I got my information because they actually competed against each other. So I put more stock in what they did on the field against each other because it's not like the NFL Pro Bowl where people are going. These guys are playing to move up in the rankings because where they get drafted, the higher they get drafted, the more money. First round is 4-year guaranteed contracts with an option for the fifth. Whereas in the second round, I think it drops down to like 3 years or 2 years guaranteed, and the money's different, you know? So if you're a first round pick, you get a longer amount of guaranteed money. Even if you're a flop, you're set for life if you don't turn into an idiot. Tavion Mitchell from Toledo. I got him as the second best cornerback in the draft. Nobody knows about Toledo because they didn't make a big bowl game. They know about this kid Mitchell now. The kid Arnold, Terrion Arnold at Alabama, has pulled ahead of his teammate Kool-Aid McKinstry, who was considered better than him. But as the year went on, he was the one playing the top receiver. But this is where people now, if they didn't make a splash in that Senior Bowl, they have a chance with the superlatives, like how fast you are. But I don't think how fast you are and how explosive you are always translate to the type of player. You know,
so that's what
Senior Bowl.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say because this. I always wondered, is a combine even like worth it in the sense of
there's been workout warriors who flopped in the NFL.
Yeah, sprinted.
The guys who have the fastest wide receiver never made it. He never became anything great. The strongest guy, Brian Bosworth,
right?
All these guys that were workout warriors. That didn't translate into being. It gives you some insight into their capabilities. But how do I know they're not lazy? But don't they work like that all the time?
Yeah, but don't you see that like during the football season in the fall? Like, can't you see like if they can, get to the gap or make tackles or whatever?
I like tape better than a 1 week.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'd rather watch your tape for all season and then how you compete against the top talent in that Senior Bowl.
Right.
Now, you know who made a lot of money in that? A kid that they wrote off at quarterback that started before Caleb Williams at Oklahoma, Spencer Rattler. He finished his career at South Carolina. He was MVP of the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
When he transferred to South Carolina, they didn't have the weapons. He still put up numbers, but he was running for his life all the time because they had a horror. But he was South Carolina. They play. Are they in the SEC or in the ACC? But they play a good schedule.
Yep.
And he had good numbers.
Yeah, and I mean that's all good. And is the NFL Columbine paid by the NFL or paid by individual teams?
No.
So
it's sponsored by the NFL because it's an NFL product. The NFL, just like the games, get sponsors to that's on NFL Network. NFL Network paid for the rights to broadcast exclusively.
Yeah.
So where's that money going to? The NFL.
Right.
These kids aren't even in the NFL yet, and the NFL's making
That's
money.
probably why they have it.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
that
that's
just
what I'm
answered my
leaning-
question.
That's what I'm leaning
The
to.
money.
That's
Yep.
what I'm leaning to.
Everything revolves around money.
And we,
Yeah.
there's that old saying, follow the money, and just think if they didn't do it, then individual teams would have to do it, right?
You'd have to
Do
spend
you
your
want
own
that?
money to go visit that kid like a high school
Yeah.
recruit. If you're recruiting a high school kid to go to college, you got to fly out from the University of Kentucky to Massachusetts to go check out who this great talent is.
Mm-hmm.
You're going out there with a team of people. You're not just going out there by yourself. But these coaches travel the whole off season visiting kids, trying to convince their families and for them to come to their school. But that's not the only kid they're trying to recruit. Who pays for that? The college, the universities, and the college boosters,
Right.
and the alumni, because they want to win and they got deep pockets. And when it comes to the NFL, it's the league. That's the machine. But the league has ways of making money before these kids even get there.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring everybody to Indianapolis, and we're going to sell the TV rights to the NFL Network. They're all wearing the same gear because one of the sporting companies sponsored the gear. Everybody's wearing the same gear there.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody has contracts yet.
I'm thinking the NFL should run our country, okay? Because they make money.
they
Well,
do.
do you have any idea how much the leader of the NFL makes, Mr. Goodell?
Yes, I'm probably going to be low, but I thought I read like there's 30 teams. Like he was making like at least $1 million per team, right?
You're in the ballpark.
Right. I'm close, but I think I'm probably still low.
I believe he makes 35 to 40 million.
Yeah,
a year.
right.
Mm-hmm.
He runs the NFL. What CEO draws that type of salary? But it's based on what type of money that business. The NFL is the most lucrative business in sports.
Yeah.
Unless you count soccer, but soccer gets 100,000. That's in another country. But in the United States, the NFL is getting 80,000 to 100,000 people at crazy ticket prices.
Yeah.
When was the last time you went to a professional game? I don't know. Basketball's expensive, football's expensive. Just to sit somewhere decent, you're going to spend at least $300 a ticket just to sit somewhere decent.
I started gathering some facts this morning about the NFL prices because the Bruins they're just going up on their prices again.
Well, at least they've been to the Stanley Cup a few years, and they have a reason to.
And I keep saying that over and over again. And the one thing they said on sports radio, they were talking about how in this area the Celtics are the only team that hasn't gone up, and they're wondering if they're going to do.
Went up, and they've been horrible for the last.
They
haven't spent no money back on their team.
Before I changed jerseys to the Dodgers, I talked about it.
Yep.
It was about a good 10 years that Red Sox are just going up and up with their prices. But it's crazy, and if I go to a game, it's going to be something that I plan way ahead of time to go to a game.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so I would like to go see Tatum up and close, see him play, because he is now my favorite player. So I like watching him.
But it's big business and it's big money to go see that team play. Like the NBA and the NFL are making money to levels that we can only imagine.
Yeah, there's a line out the door.
Yeah.
So it's like there's supply and demand. There's plenty of people that are going to go watch them.
But the problem I have with it.
On that note, let's stick with the NBA. All right, go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll say the problem I have, whether it's the NBA, because they're the only ones that do it. I don't see this happening in NFL or baseball. You got a family, you got a couple of sons or daughters that like sports. You want to have a family outing at the game.
Mm-hmm.
You play these Western Conference teams. They only come to town once.
Yep.
So you want to see LeBron. You want to see Steph Curry. You want to see Jokic.
Yep.
And LeBron sits out more times than I can imagine. So you don't know he's going to sit out when you buy that ticket. Lakers is a hard ticket to get because they only come to town once. So those tickets might be $800 to $1,000 each. You want to bring your son.
And the thing is, if you notice that most in the past few years that the Lakers always come to this area in February, which is always before the All-Star game. And it's a shame because there are a lot of Laker fans here in this.
Yeah, they got a huge fan base.
All over the place. And when when him in street clothes sit out, and I'm like, man, that's so sad.
And does the fan get a dime back? Because you invested that money. That money was that ticket price is based on the stars you're going to see.
Right.
because of the appeal.
Right.
And now you got Davis and LeBron sitting out, but you paid the money to see those guys play.
Right.
And now you're paying top dollar to watch guys you never heard of, and those guys are on the sidelines in street clothes.
Yeah.
I think that the leagues, the NBA, because like I said, it doesn't happen in the NFL. You don't see somebody game management in the NFL, which is a far more physical sport. But in basketball, the NBA has to step in and say, we're going to stop penalizing the teams because it's not fair to the fans. Because once the fans lose faith, you're a prime example of it. When you said why you're not going to support the Red Sox no more.
Mhm.
You're used to winning. They've set that type of culture. And now they don't want to pay the good players to stay. But their ticket prices keep climbing. But the product you're putting on the field, so all our favorites are going to other teams.
Yeah.
And you have the nerve to go up in ticket price and you're going down in the standings.
Mhm.
How do you justify that?
And everyone since the offseason, since last year, they've been talking about we need you to spend, go after these agents. They signed Devers and
That was the only one.
so
they
what
signed.
are they doing? They're doing nothing else other than, the lower tier of the league that's getting signed by the Red Sox. Guess what? I don't think I'm going to turn on that TV to watch them, which I ain't
Not worth
anyways.
the
I'm not.
product.
I've been since last year watching the Dodgers, everything about it, and that's who I've been supporting. But I just can't get behind them because everyone they have, every kind of all-star player that they have, whether it's 2, 3, 4 on the team, they seem to let them go, and
That's deflating.
yeah, it is. So
I mean, they used to spend money like hand over
When
fist.
Field
Yeah.
was in office.
You're right. That's yeah.
Now they just brought him back
He's
this
coming
year in
back.
a different role, but since he's left, we stopped spending money. But we were in World Series. We were winning. Yeah, we were spending money, but winners spend money. Look at the Yankees.
Competing with the Yankees.
They're never bad 2 years in a row because they'll go out and at least try to put a good product on the
Right.
field. So even if the problem with the Yankees, I feel, is they can't stay healthy. Stanton's always hurt.
Mhm.
Judge got hurt a lot last year. The pitching staff's been hurt for like 2 years. But if they stay healthy, and then this year they went out and got Juan Soto.
yeah, he's going to be.
I'm pretty sure they're going to get Blake Snell, but they do things that keep the fan base engaged because it always makes you feel like you got a chance to win.
Yeah, so true.
Not so. I can't even name half the Red Sox roster. Right
Yeah, I'm with you.
But yeah, that's my bad taste, and that's why I'm going elsewhere. I think as far as all the other local sports, local teams, they'll always be mine. But with the Red Sox, it's been too long that they're doing the same thing.
That's the one
and
sport
it's
I don't
driving me
watch.
crazy.
I used to watch it every day as a kid.
Yeah.
I'll watch the Bruins before I watch the Red Sox
Mm-hmm.
because the Bruins are competitive.
Yep.
And I enjoy watching a competitive team out there. Now, I'll pay more money to go see a Bruins game than a Red Sox game. I'd love to go to a Celtics game.
I like I like being at a hockey game. Compared to watching it, right?
Mm-hmm.
At a game, I pay attention so much more. It's weird, and I truly like the sport. I mean,
Same with me. Like for me too, it's baseball.
mm-hmm.
I love being at a baseball game.
Yeah,
To watch it on TV, it's especially now, like the way that they are. But back in the day, you could watch a game on TV. Manny Ramirez, Pedro, like you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Papa. You could sit there,
every third. You speak about that lineup, but every third person you thought was going to knock it out of the park. So there was always some excitement. Even with 2 outs, you knew there was going to be someone out.
And you had great
Someone,
pitches,
yep.
a number one and a number two. You had great closers. Like
Yep.
no matter what aspect of the team was on the field, it was exciting.
I mean, even at the bottom of the lineup, it's not even just those big hitters hitting a home run. The
Clutch hitting.
7th, 8th, 9th guys were doing stuff out there. So you never wanted to miss anything.
Yep, stealing a base.
Yeah,
and you knew
So it seems
somebody was
sports,
coming up to knock him in from second base.
Yeah, it seems some of these sports. We mentioned baseball with the Red Sox, and we mentioned the game management with basketball. How do we fix that? Is there a way to fix it, or is it just out of control?
Well,
we can't get a hold of it.
In the NBA, they've made changes where
I think they need more because this game. I mean, you got to play 65 games to win an award. But I think if you start taking money out of their pocket, these guys are going to stop playing. How much do you make per game? We're going to allow you to miss 10 games. Everything after that, because now you can't sit out as many games. So you're going to play. LeBron will not play back-to-back games.
Okay, so wait, hold on. Let me ask you something because I don't know this answer. You're right. You have to play X amount of games to win an award,
65,
MVP, whatever.
yep.
So
So Embiid's already eliminated.
Okay, so does that include like all NBA? Because that's where the money is. Like if you make all NBA, then your contract, right? Like Jaylen Brown making all NBA, he was now he could make Supermax. So that's where money comes into if they're disqualified. I'm not sure about that.
Brian would have known that, but I think that's the case. I think it's all type of awards because if you're MVP, that equates to getting more money too.
Right. So that is kind of their pocketbook a little bit.
You can't get a Supermax contract or something like that if you don't play a minimal amount of games or something. But
so we talk about behavior in adults and kids or kids now, whatever. So the mentality is different with like Michael Jordan, Kobe
we never
Bryant.
saw those guys sit
That's
out.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're like, yo, I gotta play for the
Man
fans.
played hurt.
I gotta
Yes.
play. I gotta play for the
I
fans
love
that
Kobe's
are
attitude
coming
like
to
that.
see me.
Yeah.
These guys now, like it's like, I'm not playing back to back. I don't care that this kid is coming up with his LeBron jersey, and they don't care.
And they're getting babied at practice, so they're not really going at it in practice, right? If they say because they're on the injury report or there's something, so they have to do some kind of therapy. It might be on the sideline where everybody else is kind of going through whatever drills they're going through. So they're getting rest throughout the week, and then all of a sudden now they want more rest during the game for paid people coming in. It just gets sickening because, I thought you were hurt, but you're on the sideline jumping up and down on that ankle that you said you hurt,
right?
Or that knee that you said hurt.
Give an injury before you get fined.
Yeah.
LeBron's got a bum ankle.
Right.
He played All-Star Weekend, right?
Yeah.
The very first game, he was on load management. We were talking about that on the show last week. How did you just play in the All-Star game and then had 3 more? The game was on Sunday. The league didn't start back up to the following Thursday. You had 4 days off after the All-Star game. You didn't get hurt in the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
Where was that injury then? You come back, you're hurt. Why? Because the first game was away and they thought they had a better chance of winning the second game.
Right,
so they sat out the game they thought they were going to lose because they went after the game they knew they were going to win.
Right. But, these guys...
He's trying to save himself for the playoffs.
Yeah, but they can easily say, because, your point with the All-Star game and then at practice, tweaked it at practice. That's all they're going to say.
He played, and then he had 4 days off, and then miraculously, after skipping the first game back, he was ready the second game back.
Right.
There was no minute limitation. He didn't play 20 minutes. Oh, it's Gimpy.
Right.
Yeah,
I feel like we're being misled and lied to. You're insulting our intelligence
by
acting like we don't see through that charade.
All right, so we got a good comment here. The only way to hurt any sport franchise or the league is to stop buying their gear and stop going to the games. That lack of money will reduce ticket prices, salaries, and the owners' pockets.
I agree, sir.
I agree, but I think it's easier said than done because people dream of going to a professional event. Buying that team jersey is not just buying is not buying it because of your favorite player. I know people who buy jerseys just because they like the color scheme. They're not even if it's a fashionable thing too.
Yeah.
So people won't care about that. But if that matches the new sneakers I got, I'm going to buy this gear or whatever. That's the way that we could do it. But that would be one. If that doesn't happen, the owners have to step in and come up with a rule and say, or the NBA, because not the owners. The owners are going to protect their players. The NBA president and Adam Silver and them have to dictate to the owners that we're going to stop penalizing the team for putting out inferior product. Start giving back some of that ticket money if your stars don't play.
Yeah.
Because if I go buy a Mercedes, brand new, 2024, and when I get there, you give me a 1995 something else, why am I paying Mercedes price for?
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, you brought up a good point that I wasn't really thinking because I get LeBron don't play. Some of these guys don't play. And fans are disappointed. Damn, he sat out with it. But you made a good point that these ticket prices are higher when it's
because you're expected to see them
because it's the Lakers, because it's Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying?
They justify it,
right? So it's like when you put it like that,
and it's almost it's $100 to $85 that it's going up. Sometimes even more than that.
Certain tickets are more expensive based on their draw.
Right.
But you know who I respect in the NBA? This same situation that we're talking about with LeBron happened with Steph Curry.
Yep.
It was a girl and her dad. He saved up 2 months' salary to take his daughter to a game. Steph Curry, she got to the game. She's in his gear, his sneakers, his jersey, everything. They traveled cross country to get there. The mother traveled with him, but didn't go to the game. She stayed at the hotel. The father and daughter went to the game. So they bought 3 flights, 2 tickets, and Steph Curry didn't play. Steph Curry was legit hurt. So he was made aware of the story. He paid for the family to stay over the next couple of nights at his expense
Yeah.
so that they could stay and see him play in the following game.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome.
And signed all the girls' stuff. So she was disappointed because she didn't know Steph Curry wasn't playing until they got to the game.
Right.
Yeah,
And you're looking for him to warm up, and he's not even warming up. He was legit hurt. That happens.
Rare dude.
But this load management, but when Steph Curry found out he had the Kobe and Michael Jordan, Larry Bird mentality, hey, we're privileged to play in this league. We want to win. We want to show we're the best. But these fans are investing in us. I owe it for those 82 games to give my best effort. It's no different than you going to your day job, my day job. We only get paid if we show up. Not these fools.
Right.
Their money's guaranteed. The minute you put a price point and say, all right, make as much money as the team wants to pay you, $100 million a year. There's 82 games in the season. For every game you miss, I'm taking $1 million off your pay.
Mm-hmm.
How much you want to bet? All of a sudden these injuries go away.
Right.
Load management goes away.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to lose that money. You have to hit them in the pockets because now they'll understand they're hitting us fans in the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And they got no guilt. I can't play. Oh, well, not my problem. But you're still getting paid to sit out. Your salary don't go down.
One of Michael Jordan's greatest accomplishments or whatever, he scores all these points. He played all these games.
Mm-hmm.
Like
He went 5 seasons without missing a game.
No one talks about that, but he played every
1 year that he was out almost the whole year because he tore up his knee his second year in the league.
Yeah, second year. Yep.
That was the only time he missed multiple games.
Yeah.
That's why
Kobe too. Kobe,
I try
the
to.
day he tore his Achilles tendon, stayed in the game to shoot the free throws, tried to keep playing,
Yeah.
and then realized, the pain's too much.
Yeah.
He was forced out. But that's the only way you're getting these people out, when they physically can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard of them guys having load management. I wish we could take the Kobe, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird era and switch it. Put these new guys in the old era, and now with the prices the way they were, let these guys be the new era because they would have set the standard on how a professional is supposed to play.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have brought the NBA to different heights because nobody would be questioning the increase in tickets because you got a 90% chance of seeing your favorite player play.
Yep.
And it's gotten to the point where the fans create the rivalry.
Yeah.
But the players don't. You playing for Philadelphia, me in Boston, him in Milwaukee, right? And the players are like, we're going at it during the game, playing, you win. And then all of a sudden, it's like kumbaya after the game. Hey,
Yeah, we never saw the old school dudes hang out.
Stop doing that, man. Just give us some competition. And it all starts with that. That, you know what?
Desire to win.
Do your
You're
meeting.
not on my team. I ain't got no time for you.
Is that competition shake at the end of the game? You want to do that? Fine, but
People
move
joining
on.
super teams.
Yeah.
LeBron wants to go play with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Reggie Miller said, I'll die before playing on the same team as one of those guys. I wanted to beat those guys.
Right.
Because I thought I was the best. And I wanted my team to be the best.
And
They didn't go. They wanted to beat them guys more than they wanted to win the easy way out. Like, let's go join a super team. 2 or 3 great players. You should win. And that's not even a guaranteed formula right now.
I mean, I think nowadays there's a little bit of, like that you mentioned, like AAU.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of these guys that form friendships like at a younger
Yeah.
age before they get to the league. So I think there's that little dynamic too that they're
They've
friends,
been playing together so long.
right? Where before it's like college,
high
NBA
school.
rivalries, and it stayed there.
Yeah, that's the best example of that is when you listen to Kevin Garnett tell his stories.
Well, he gets so passionate.
And when he talks about
criticizes the people of
the
today.
people he played with and played against, and it goes back to AAU and traveling teams, and so I get that, but I wish the players would make it more of a rivalry instead of the fans. I mean, we're hyping up these games like, if Milwaukee and Boston were playing, me and you would be talking junk, right?
And then one of us is going to say, "Yeah, but Embiid didn't play, or
yeah.
Greek Freak didn't play."
Mhm.
It takes the competition away because somebody's not at their best.
True.
I mean, look at the All-Star game this year.
I was going to bring. I'm glad you just brought that up.
I
'cause
mean,
I was waiting to transition to that.
You want to talk about a laugh to me?
They need to stop supporting that all together right now.
Like back in the day, like
horrible product.
They would go at it. You know, the first
best players in the dunk.
The first quarter or two. I mean, you know, they'd be showboating, they'd be doing their thing, but like
come fourth quarter,
yo, let's go, we're playing. So
what if they brought it like baseball?
Hey, that kid. Well, yeah,
because home court advantage is determined by who wins the All-Star.
Yeah.
So there's something to play for.
Right.
So you can do all that, but that's going to bring it back to once you get to the fourth quarter, you got to go for the win.
But it's like it's load management, because I heard a player say that after this All-Star game, player was like, you know, we don't want to take a chance of getting an injury or whatever.
But you want to take that All-Star bonus money for being selected.
Right.
It was $100 grand. I don't know what it was.
It's not much, but
right.
This is great. You know, talking about the NBA, you know, staying on point. The one thing when we talked about this topic, I was like thinking about the Chicago Bulls, right? And I watched them last night, and I was I really said,
were you forced to watch them?
No, I wasn't.
It was a bet. Why you watch them?
I was.
Derek Carr made you watch them?
Yeah, you know, you know how he is. You know, I think he got mafia ties.
Mm.
No, he's letting his hair grow like an Italian, right? So maybe, I don't know. You know, I don't know.
But what don't you like about the Bulls? What's getting under your skin about them?
Because they're a good team, and they all year. I mean, I think they were talking about trading Levine in October, right? And I wish they would have just let him go, you know. And I don't know what his contract, what clauses are in his contract about no trade clause or whatever, but Chicago showed that they're about two players, and now, and I say that, look what the Knicks did. They added two players, and they're a great team. Other than they're missing Randall, but that's a team that is going to go pretty far in the East. They did
getting the kid Anunoby from Toronto.
Yep,
and
then the two others from one from Detroit,
Bogdanovich, and somebody else from Detroit. Yeah. But compare that trade. You just brought up that trade.
Yep.
How much money do the guys the Knicks traded for make? They were people at the end of their rookie contracts or mid-level pro. How much does Zach LaVine make?
He's up there.
Yeah,
he got that.
You have to make the trade equal. So you have to give back something, or the NBA will veto the trade. Now, the Lakers, I heard, were very hot on wanting him. But what they were going to have to give up to balance out the trade, they weren't willing to gut their team out. They weren't going to give up, I think it was Austin. Austin
Reeves.
Austin Reeves. But they didn't want to move him, and they didn't want to move Rudy. Those are good role players.
Yeah.
I can't
Bush Amira or something.
Yeah.
But if Zach makes $26 million, Jack makes like $30 million or something.
Yeah.
So you have to make the contracts match. So you got to give up multiple players to bring that guy in. So they bring in a great guy, but they lose two contributing role players.
Right.
So now their depth just got. Does that really help them? You can't win with a 6-guy team. You got to have a couple of subs that can come off the bench and contribute.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had the depth if they did that. They were really, really, but they couldn't make the business part of it work.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Zach LaVine is a great player.
Yeah,
but I don't.
It hurt a lot though.
Yeah, so I don't know what he adds to a team as far as like, you know, they're gonna build around him. Is he like a piece missing for a team? You know,
and he's gonna have to share the ball with Street Clothes and LeBron. Who's gonna take a step back so that he can get enough shots off, or is he gonna be comfortable going from somebody who averages 25 a game to averaging 14 a game?
Oh, you see what's happening with D'Angelo Russell, man. He's a little unhappy. You know,
that's his second stint with them.
Yeah, so and he wants the ball too.
I think
because he's capable. On another team, he can play at an all-star level. Blending in on the Lakers, he feels like he's holding down his talents.
Right.
They're not winning.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a DeRozan guy. I liked him ever since San Antonio. I love the dude.
Did you see his shot last night?
Yeah. He got fouled on the other.
Wait, who was this?
I was pulling DeRozan.
Yeah, he made three foul shots, right?
Yeah, and I thought they were going to lose. I'm ready to step away from the game, and then all of a sudden it's overtime. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And but I just had as far as fantasy basketball, I had a good.
Me and Charlie are in the same league.
I had a good game, stat wise, based on the people I had on Chicago with DeRozan. I had Drummond. And I had White. So I did pretty good yesterday. Let me see. I'm gonna put this up here. So who y'all? Let's just kind of do like you guys do every week. We talked about the East my teams are always. I always talk about Boston, Milwaukee, and now I'm really adding New York to that twist, right?
If Randall can come back healthy, because he's their leading scorer, or he's going to either him or Brunson can be your number one. Neither one's as effective when the other one's not there because you got one guy trying to do everything. But they're also missing Anunoby, who they got in the trade.
Yeah.
He's a 3-and-D guy. He doesn't have to have the ball to score, but if you leave him open, he can hit the three. He's a slasher, but you know what his best attribute is? He's a lockdown defender.
Yeah, he sure is.
A 3-and-D guy, somebody who can hit the three and D somebody up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think getting Randall and Anunoby back, the Knicks look real good. When they were all healthy, would they go on a 12-game win streak right after they made that trade?
Yeah.
Then Randall got hurt and Anunoby got hurt. That's a little much to absorb. Those are two of your higher impact players. But look what Cleveland's doing.
Yeah, Cleveland is.
Eric Mobley came back halfway through. He was hurt at the beginning of the year, but him and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and Jared Allen, they've overtaken Milwaukee in our division.
Yeah,
we're in second place.
But I just don't see them being a team to go far in the playoffs.
They recently just lost a big winning streak when they lost to Philly last week, but they had like a double-digit win streak too. But it's the first time they were all healthy.
Right.
But they lost to New York last year in the playoffs, and I thought Cleveland was going to beat New York. That was the 4-5 matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Cleveland would handle them, and New York handled them, bounced them in the first round.
Yeah.
Easily.
Indiana's playing pretty well, pretty
good. But they're not going to be a playoff team, I don't think.
Yeah. They, it's their defense. They don't have enough defense to.
They got the other kid, Siakam. Yeah. You can score 1 million points, but if you can't stop nobody, you're keeping the other team in the game just as much as you're scoring.
Yeah, especially in the playoffs.
How many?
Now you can't make a stop down the end if it's a close game.
Right.
You're not used to doing it.
How many times you mentioned over the year about the old Denver Nuggets, right? And that's
they saw Alex English and all them, Kiki
Crazy.
Vandeweghe, 140 points a game, and it was 150 to 142.
Yeah.
Derek, who's your favorite NBA team?
I mean, I'm a huge Celtics fan.
All right.
I mean, I love the Celtics, Tatum, Brown. I mean, I've been at Celtics.
Yeah, you got the highest odds to win the championship right now. What do you think makes them the team with the highest odds, and what would prevent them from winning the championship?
I mean, I feel like the always shooting the threes
is what?
Is a
detriment?
Yes. If they're not hitting, right. Because we see it, they go through these patches where they don't
plan B.
Right.
And it stymies the offense because everybody's on the perimeter. You don't see nobody. Tatum is such a good guy going to the basket. The only one I see that goes to the basket with regularity is Brown.
Yeah.
I see Tatum now settling like he wants to be the guy on the outside as much. Tatum goes to the basket better than just about anybody in the league, and I don't know why he doesn't do it more.
Yeah.
Porzingis is 7 feet tall, wants to stand on the 3-point land.
I think they're, I hate to say this, but I feel like their coach is probably like the detriment of,
I think that's the case too.
Potentially.
Yeah.
And he can't force his will on those players because they're bigger personalities than he is.
Right, but but he just wants to shoot threes, and they seem to be following in line with that. And when there's 20 seconds left out of a timeout, I don't know if he has that, smarts or whatever to, change the game.
If I'm on the other team and I'm a defensive player, I'm taking my chances getting up close to you and forcing you to beat me to the basket because I know that you don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play you as if you're going to take that three, and I'm going to make you do something you're not comfortable with. It's so obvious. Teams that like them, teams that don't like them, they got that. It's working right now.
Right. So
and they're healthy.
Right. So the other thing is the healthy of Porzingis, if he's healthy. So
he's been there more than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah. The 3-point shooting, there's so many good shooters that I feel like someone's going to be hitting. Like if it's not Porzingis, Tatum will hit. If it's not Tatum, Brown's going to be hot that night. I always feel like, wow, they have so much firepower right now. Someone's going to be
But I'm convinced.
As long as they get to that person, sometimes they get a little
Right.
selfish, right?
Right.
And want to play their game and never get it to. All right, rotate it around and get it to Holiday in the corner. That
Right.
in the corner
He's
that's
capable
leading.
too.
That's leading the whole league in
Percentage.
and
3-point
3-point
percentage.
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
corner, right? So yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, well, the only thing I was going to say was when it comes to the Celtics, the thing besides the 3-point that you mentioned that I think might be a drawback is their lack of depth. They don't go more than 6 or 7 deep that can really contribute. Then you're hoping Pritchard, he's not consistently good. He's had some good games off the
Yeah.
bench. Sam Howell's a couple. I'm not ride or dying with them guys in the playoffs to contribute enough in the playoffs to carry me. I think they got a good 6 or 7. And a team that can make them work hard the whole game, they'll tire, and I've seen the Celtics give up huge leads.
Yeah,
They get out great to a great lead. I've seen them give up 20-point leads in the fourth quarter. They don't have what it takes to hold on. Their bench isn't strong enough to protect those
and
leads.
that's been the MO for about 8 years now.
Shooting the three and not having
Having big leads and getting
Yeah.
and you can
that's attributed to
you can
coaching,
go
too.
back.
Right.
Yeah, about 8 years. You can go back and they always done that. As far as goes, Kenny Walker when he was a point guard, they were building leads with that team, and then they blow it, and they come back and maybe win by 3. But
Was
they
that the MO when Udoka was the coach? Did they have that same issue? 'Cause
a little bit.
They were one of the best defensive teams.
A little bit because, yeah. In fact, they were doing the
They
same
lost
thing.
the championship when he was a coach, right?
Yeah, to the Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors
And they blew. I thought they had a real good chance to win that series. And they
Yeah.
blew something.
Damn, man. We were up.
Yeah, that's that old saying that Corey said, enjoy your win because you won't be winning again, and they got the Warriors got their next 2 wins to be the champion, right? And man,
Speaking,
I think that Tatum is a great year.
He's an MVP candidate.
But I think, and I'm going to check this when I go home, is I think he's having the best rebounding year he's had in his whole career.
really.
Which is something you don't expect from him.
Yeah.
If you get that, to me, that's a bonus.
added.
Scoring, slashing.
Yeah.
To me, he's got to be more of a leader. He's the best player on the team, but he's not the leader. I don't see him gathering people together and motivating people. I think he just lets his talent speak for itself. And I'm still not convinced him and Brown can play together.
I actually
They've had
see,
all these years. If it doesn't work this year and he's up for a supermax
Yeah, so-
contract next year,
This is the year.
afford to keep people on your team if he gets a supermax contract bigger than what Brown got.
Yeah.
Then you're crippled for 5 years. Somebody's going to have to go.
I don't think Tatum's going anywhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is it.
So,
Like this
Brown
is
would-
is
They
the
don't
year.
win this year.
We've been
They
going
split
at
him up because next year he gets paid supermax.
Right.
He's an MVP candidate, so he's going to get that bonus kicker like Brown got. He's going to
Yep.
be first team All NBA.
As long as Porzingis is there,
They have a chance.
they're
I like
contenders.
people
Yep.
criticized that that trade because they were homers about Marcus Smart. Everybody loved Marcus Smart. Porzingis is a much better upgrade. He brings something different to the table. Marcus Smart thought he was part of the big 3. I loved his defense and tenacity, but I didn't like him thinking that after Tatum and Brown, he should take the next big shot or that he could hit a clutch 3. He's not that great a shooter.
I loved Smart. I was disappointed when he got traded.
But would you now what you see? with
in
Porzingis,
hindsight,
would
listen,
you keep him?
in hindsight, I'm very happy.
And that's the thing.
I-
Porzingis is only knock. He's always been dominant. Can he stay healthy?
Healthy, yeah.
I don't think I've ever one person I've been getting on is maybe the coach. But all last year I was talking about Williams and Smart, trade him. Everybody knew Charlie don't like Williams. Charlie don't care for Smart every now and
But
then.
with good
you know.
reason.
And so I've been more happy than as a fan, Celtic fan, this year because I'm not really going at any of the players other than when they're going at that 3-point barrage and not making anything, So,
Well,
and
that's-
let me add one thing. I think Embiid's injury is more serious than people think.
Well, they just announced today on SportsCenter bottom line that he's eyeing to come back before the end of the regular season. He wants to come back at least 2 weeks before the regular season. And he says as long as Philadelphia's in the playoff hunt, that's when he's got to play like an MVP. That was his quote today.
Yeah.
So
But
he's planning on coming back, but he's going to come back and be healthy during the playoffs when it matters. There's nothing he has a legit injury. He was having problems with his knee all year long, but he got a double injury when somebody fell on his leg and hyperextended it, and it aggravated that injury even more. He was without that last injury, he was already playing every other game.
he's got slow recovery time. So if he comes back, I don't.
I mean, he's a big guy.
Yeah,
Like the weight, the pounding.
but
I mean,
I'd rather do what they're doing. We only got tomorrow's March 1st. We got one more month. In April is when the playoffs start.
Yeah.
He comes back for the playoffs. They need a 6-week run out of him. And they're going to gamble that. We're going to see what he can do then because he can't do nothing to help us now. Even if he can't make it through the playoffs, he'll have the whole offseason to recover. But they're not going to take no risk no more this year. I don't like Philly's chances.
But if he comes back and plays, like he's such a dominant.
Getting out of shape.
He's such. I mean, he can whip himself back into shape. He's a dominant player.
Definitely a talent.
They have a couple of other good players there. I would pick them over the Cavs, the Knicks, to make a run.
If he can play like a healthy Joel Embiid, yeah. But who do you think is the biggest threat out of the East for the Celtics? That was the question I was going to ask a second ago.
For me is Milwaukee and New York. With Cleveland
injured people.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee.
I'm a Milwaukee fan,
they just played.
Huh?
They just played
Who?
Boston, New York, and Boston. They played, and that was a good game, and it was competitive up until the end.
Because Boston plays up to the competition.
Yeah.
I think in a playoff series, Boston would smash the Knicks. Because stars will show up when it's time to show up. And without Randall and without Anunoby, they're not deep enough to beat the Celtics in a 7-game series. Milwaukee should be the biggest threat. But the Dame and Greek Freak, they haven't figured it out because...
And what's up with your boy Middleton? What's going on?
He's out. He's been hurt off and on the last
Like
2
forever.
years. He's coming back. And I just saw Giannis talk about the importance of having Chris Middleton on the team because... everybody takes him lightly, and then you look up and he's got 20 points, and he's not afraid to take a big shot. He doesn't take bad shots, and he takes the pressure off. So they haven't had a full season of all of their big three on the court because Middleton's been off. Dame took a little while to adjust. Dame didn't know whether to be the lead dude or to defer to Middleton, and Dame's just starting to round out into the player he is now. Yeah, he just got adjusted. I saw this happen when LeBron went over to Miami. And Chris Bosh went over to Miami. They went, they're going to win it. And they lost to San Antonio. Yep. They didn't stop playing good until halfway through the year. And we were like, they're going to lose 10, 12 games. Man, they were barely over 500 when they got into the playoffs or something like that. Right. But they were playing better, and they went to the championship. No, they lost to Dallas. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
They lost to Dirk Nowitzki.
That's right. Yeah, yep.
Dirk was the only superstar on his team, and they were making the joke that big three.
Remember the cough thing? Yep. The confidence in it?
Yep. But I think Milwaukee should be the best bet, but I'm going to say Cleveland right now.
I'm afraid of, as we say in the South End, scared of Mitchell. That guy always plays good against the Celtics, and but I think they need to let him do what he, score and concentrate on.
Put Drew Holiday on him.
Yeah, and Drew is.
He's
getting better. He's
stop, but he won't explode.
Yeah, Drew is his defense is getting a little bit. He's picking it up for some reason. I don't know if you noticed it. But I think
he's always a defensive stuff.
He's really, really picking it up now. When they need a steal, he's there. He's deflecting the ball. He's doing something. And there was key points in a couple of games ago that Holiday wasn't in, and I was like, "How come he's not in the game?" It was getting me a little upset. But so that's the East.
But can I just with the Cleveland? I love Donovan Mitchell. The dude can score, but like even in Utah, like he never went far, and they had a pretty good team
in Utah.
Yeah. I think there was a couple of years that they had like three studs, and they just never got out.
Is a defensive. He's a shot blocker and rebound. He's not going to contribute offensively.
But he's
And
still
then they
he's
had
still
one other player
giving
that
you a
was
lot,
decent before
right?
they broke
But
it up.
Yeah, they could make it to the second round.
I
Yeah,
think
so-
there's more
yeah.
talent in Cleveland with the team he has now. Eric Mobley,
yeah, so I mean,
Darius Garland's grossly underrated.
Mhm.
He's a great point
yeah,
guard.
he is.
And then they got Jared Allen, who's a shot blocker. And so Jared Allen and Evan Mobley can shot block and rebound, but Evan Mobley can also score. If you need a basket, you can go to Evan Mobley and he can
Yeah.
score. So you got two twin towers down low. You got Mitchell who can do everything. You got a point guard who can distribute. I think he has more talent around him now than he did in Utah.
So
Right.
let's see it. Let's see it in the playoffs.
Well, they won 17 out of 18. I
Yeah.
don't know. That might be Barry Barbosa. But he said they had won 9 straight, 17 out of 18
Yeah.
since Mobley came back.
Listen, they're a great team. I want to see him do it in the playoffs.
I could say that about a lot of teams. But that's the East. The Celtics should win. We'll see what happens. But I'm taking Charlie wanted to venture out west a little.
Yeah, if you the West is
Wide open.
It's wild. I believe in I'm watching all the national games, and I like watching Phoenix. I love watching OKC. I mean, that team is just.
Remember, I picked them at the beginning.
Yeah.
Everybody called me crazy saying that
And,
Chet Holmgren was going to win it, Rookie of the Year
Yeah.
over Victor. Might
Yeah.
not play out that way, but Chet's going to have the last laugh because his team's number 1 and number 2 in the West.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed, very, very disappointed with Sacramento.
Yeah, because Sabonis and Fox are excellent. And then they got the kid that was in his second year, that the off guard there. But I thought they were going to turn the corner.
Monk.
Keenan Murray.
Oh, Murray, yeah.
Kid that played at Iowa.
So, I don't know. I'm kind of a Booker fan, so I like Phoenix, but OKC is just when they came and played Boston. That my impression of them went up several levels because I didn't think they were that good until Boston had no answer for OKC. They had
What do you think made OKC better than you thought? Because I got my opinion. I want to just see if you say it before I do. What made them play so well against Boston, or why are they doing so well this year? Because they have several of the young players we talked about,
yeah.
and neither one, even though SGA is the
Yep.
leader,
Yeah.
there's 4 or 5 guys that can be the go-to guy. You can't stop everybody. If one guy's having an off night, they got 3 or 4 others. SGA's not scoring today. Let's go to Chet more.
Right.
Let's go to Williams more. They just picked up
And one of the key points
Hayward.
is their constant movement.
Gordon Hayward is off their bench now.
Yeah.
I mean-
The offense of OKC is
Giddy, Josh Giddy, the 6'7" combo guy.
no one slows down. There's no one standing around in OKC. Then their offense, they're constantly moving. There's no one
And
just
they're
kind of
willing to
hanging in the
share.
corner. There's no one hanging in the corner, hanging off to the wing. Everybody is moving constantly. So now the other team has to constantly play defense.
And don't know, you can't just key on shutting down one person.
No.
If you play the Celtics, I'm going to say take the ball out of Brown and Tatum's hands and make
Yeah.
somebody beat me. Porzingis is capable, but we don't know if he's going to hold up. And then what happens when them guys are out of the game? Because they're all starters, so they all can't be on the court all the time. But when they're out of the game, who's going to keep up that momentum? OKC, I've seen each one of those players. Do you know how much Jalen Williams averages? Like 18 a game. He's their second leading scorer.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely a shock. When I look at them,
dudes averaging 14 or more.
yeah. When I look at them at the top of the West, I'm like, holy shit.
Do
like,
you think they're the best team in the West right now? Who would you say, if you had to pick one team to come out of the West right now, who would it be?
like to come out of the West?
Yeah,
I mean,
because there's several players.
yeah. Okay. So what I was going to ask is, there's OKC, Minnesota. Are they
Teams I'm thinking.
are they like primed enough to make a run as opposed to the Warriors, LA? Because those have players
done
that
with both those teams.
they've been there though. They've been there.
I put Denver ahead of all them guys.
Oh, okay, Denver.
Yeah.
Why have we not mentioned Denver yet?
Yeah.
Because I look at OKC and Minnesota at the same level. They both evolved. When they made that trade for Rudy Gobert, we were laughing because he wasn't fitting in well.
Yeah.
This year, he's fitting in well.
Right.
And Kyle Anthony Towns has gotten away from being the basket. He's hitting threes. He's driving. They're meshing. And Anthony Edwards has really, upped his game. Minnesota and OKC to me are one in the same team, but I still put Denver ahead of them
Denver definitely.
because Denver's already won it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as long as their big three is healthy, I still think Denver's the pick. But
Hey, the Joker can't dunk a ball. Is that true?
he can dunk, but for a
He struggled.
6'11" dude, it's ugly.
Well, he's got.
I think Spud Webb dunks easier than he.
Yeah, he's got no ups. He just like
Yeah,
you know.
that was freaky.
He's not an explosive player.
No.
He's a mental player.
Yeah.
Look at his stats, bro. He dominates in scoring when he wants. He dominates in rebounds. I saw a game last week. He had 30-something points, 16 assists, 18 rebounds.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, he's dominated.
And who was it? Anthony, I think from the Knicks there. Retired player. He's a sportscaster. But he talked about
Greg Anthony.
Yeah, Greg Anthony. He was talking about, could you imagine that this dude, I mean, he's scoring, he's passing, he's rebounding. Just imagine if he put it in his head.
Yeah.
I just want to
wanna
score. He's sharing the ball and doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
He only dominates the game when the offense breaks down. Maybe one of the other two, maybe Murray or somebody else is having an off night. And now we got to rely on him.
Yeah.
Michael Porter. I haven't heard Porter's name that much this year. It's been mostly Murray and Joker.
Oh, yeah, and I still think Murray is underrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
I mean,
he stays healthy,
he can ball, with anybody.
Yeah, he's good. Good pick. And I mean, I like Denver. I'm always rooting for them for the only reason that there's the coach is from Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
I get that
For
sentiment
whose team?
for Denver Nuggets. He's from Mass.
Malone?
Yeah. Can't think of the town right now.
I mean, don't forget the Clippers.
Well, that's another team. That's why
Their
I wanted
record
to
since
show
like
how
December
much
is crazy.
The
I think.
Clippers
I
are
want-
37-20.
Yeah.
But Minnesota's 42-17.
I lost so much money on
OKC
the
is
Clippers that
41
I
and
would never.
17.
Yeah, but the Clippers, I think, after they lost like 5 in a row with James Harden,
When he first started, he had trouble
right,
adjusting.
5 or 6 games,
Once Westbrook went to the bench,
they went crazy after that.
because now Westbrook can be more aggressive because he's the leader of that second team.
Mhm.
They already got 3 guys who can score between George, Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard stayed healthy. That's huge. Him and
Right.
Paul George.
Yeah,
They're
Kawhi
so
talked about
good.
in an interview how he's, he doesn't have an MCL or ACL injured.
You're right.
This year.
That's
Yeah.
why he can play.
But you know what teams are surging? Those teams are all great. We're talking about the Clippers could be at the top. OKC could be at the top. Minnesota could be at the top. But don't sleep on what Dallas is doing right now.
Dallas, another one.
Because Luka's just turned 25 yesterday. Luka is unstoppable. And he's the closest thing to the Joker that I can think of that can stuff the stats in every category.
Right.
But now Kyrie is bought into playing more team ball.
Yep.
So he's letting Luka be Batman and he's comfortable being Robin, where when he played with LeBron, he was mad he wasn't getting enough credit as Robin. He
Right.
wanted to be Batman.
He's getting older.
He's mature.
Yeah, maturing, right.
Luka's out there averaging 30-something a game, and Kyrie's like, all right, let me know when you need a break, I'll take over.
Right.
But at the end of the game, he's deferring to Luka. And Luka makes the right decision. So right now, Dallas is 34-25. A half a game behind another surprise team that you can't sleep on. And mind you, these guys are at the bottom of the Western Conference standings.
The Suns.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
New Orleans is in first place by. So right now, the standings would be Minnesota, OKC, the Clippers, Denver. Denver's in third place at 40-19, and they're their own. So you got those 4 teams. They're the ones that are going to have first round buys. New Orleans is head of the Southwest Conference as the 5th seed. Dallas is right below them at the 6th seed, and
Phoenix.
and then you got Sacramento and the Lakers.
Where's
And then
Phoenix?
go to say, oh no, I'm sorry, Phoenix. Phoenix would be 6th. Sacramento would be 7th. Ooh, the Lakers would be in a playoff.
The
They'd be in
Lakers
a
and
play-in
Warriors,
game.
I think, are playing games.
Well, yeah, because the Lakers are 32-28, and Golden State is 30-27. So they're a game and a half behind. So those guys are in the 9-10 spots, but those other 8 teams are all playing well. Phoenix, if they can stay healthy, they have the same problem as Boston, but Boston's in a better situation. They only got 6 or 7 guys.
Yeah, I mean,
They don't have Bradley Beal right now.
yeah.
When they had Bradley Beal, I was surprised how dominant he was playing alongside a Kevin Durant and a Devin Booker, and still was out there getting 25 or 30 without forcing it.
Yeah, I think with Beal, they're being very gentle. I mean, as you know, he's on my team in fantasy, and I seen him. No, I already cut somebody. Trey Young. I think he's done.
Yeah, Trae Young. I've never been a fan of Trae Young.
Yeah, so you're gonna pick him up?
Well, there's a reason you cut him, right? I'm trying not to cut Devin
He
Bain.
ain't coming back.
Desmond Bain.
Back.
Oh, hey, go answer the door for us. All right.
It's Charlie, feet to the coal.
Yep.
I'll ask Derek this when he comes back from the door. Who's playing for the Western Conference Finals? We just named all those teams, and just to refresh your memory, you got the Clippers and Phoenix ahead of the Pacific Division, New Orleans and Dallas ahead of the Southwest, but then in the Northwest, you got Minnesota, OKC, and Denver. So I just named 3, 5, 7 teams. What 2 teams would you have playing if everybody's healthy for the Western Conference Final? Mind you, the Nuggets are the defending champion, and it's hard to pick them as a definite favorite because it's so competitive.
If Phoenix is in the no, they'd be in the same bracket as Denver, right?
Well, it depends.
So
1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5.
Phoenix can't beat Denver, so I give Denver, even though I like Phoenix. But if they're in the bracket, in the same bracket with Minnesota, they could beat Minnesota.
So what 2 teams come out of your brackets?
Denver, and I would say Minnesota.
So that means somebody has to beat the Clippers. Somebody has to beat OKC.
I just think those teams that LA, I don't think even. I mean, they're so good, but
LA's going to
Clippers
play somebody in the top 2 in a play-in game.
Yeah, I just think that they. I don't have any confidence in them, even as trying to be, think about it as a basketball person and say, LA is a good team, but I just think that Denver and Minnesota are playing well.
Same question, Derek. You have to pick 2 teams to come out of the West and play for the Western Conference Final.
Denver, and I'll go with OKC.
That's how I feel.
All right.
But I really want to put the Clippers in there if they stay healthy, because I feel like with the way that team's playing, if none of those big 3 get hurt, man, they're going to be tough. Because they got Westbrook coming. They got a big 4.
Yeah.
But they're all that big 3 they're all of them are
Kawhi's been a champion before.
Infamous of just laying an egg in the playoffs.
You know who got their number?
Every single one of them.
You know who they can't beat? Every year they lost to, even when Doc Rivers was the coach, was Dallas. They could never beat Dallas. Yeah. Luka destroys the Clippers.
Yeah. And I mean, rightfully so. We already mentioned his age. He's young, but he's strong. All right.
He's smart.
And he
looks like he's out of shape, just like Joker.
Yeah.
And they kill you.
Yeah. It's like that.
They're cerebral.
It's like the 1 or 2 fat men on the court with their set shot, and they're just whipping you, man.
So I know you guys think Boston's going to come out of the East, and that's a good pick. Who would you rather see him play? Because I think Denver will get them.
I think Boston's going to win it all.
I think if they don't play Denver, OKC hasn't learned how to win yet. Minnesota hasn't learned how to win yet. They're experiencing regular season success. They've never won in the playoffs, but Denver has won a championship.
Right.
So they're not going to be intimidated by that moment. And if Boston tries to beat them with all 3s, Denver will kill them because they don't have an interior player that can stop Jokic. And he's just going to bully ball them, and he's going to get everybody else involved.
I mean, I think Porzingis has a bigger presence down there than you give him credit for.
Off the ball defender, but he's not keeping Joker out of the lane.
Well, they would kind of play patty cake in that Denver and Boston game. They were just being friends, right?
Yeah.
You score, I score. You score, I score. That's the way it was going with them. But I just I think this is Boston's year, and I don't care who they play.
Yeah, I'll be disappointed
Yeah,
if Boston don't win this year.
Let me just check something to see who would have the home court advantage. Well,
Boston.
Denver has 19 wins, right? 19 losses.
We only have 12.
Oh yeah.
They're not even close to 20.
Yeah. We should have
So
home.
right now,
Yeah.
Boston would have home court advantage. You're
They
not
already-
worried about that thin Denver air.
They're already talking about Boston clinching a playoff spot already.
Well, that's to
Yeah.
be said. I'm not debating that Boston doesn't. They're not playing like the number one seed in the East. It's just Boston hasn't shown us that they can finish it off. They got to the championship
right.
against Golden State, and I think they're really challenged on their bench. And I think they'll get worn down eventually, especially in Denver in that thin air. I think Denver's capable of winning in Boston before Boston's capable of winning in Denver. So I think they can steal the home court advantage and then protect home in Denver.
I mean,
They're trying to find out how they're going to play Tillman, because Tillman should be playing now.
Has he even made his appearance yet? I haven't heard.
Yeah, he played 2 games, but it was like a couple of minutes. At the last end of one game. Yeah, and that's what it is. So once they find out what chemistry
right.
and where he's going to play, I think he's going to be key. Because before he got to the Celtics, he was playing a lot of minutes for Memphis, right? So I just think that he's going to contribute a lot. And but as far as if I want to think about the NBA, I hope the East has a championship between the Celtics and New York, and then with Denver and Minnesota or Phoenix, and they're one or the other.
What's it going to take for New York to get to the finals of the East? Because I can't see that happening.
Yeah,
not when Jalen Brunson's your lead dog.
Yeah.
I can't see him carry nothing against him, but I can't see him being your best player and beating out of Cleveland, beating out of Milwaukee. They need Randall and they need Anunoby to come back, and they need to come back enough where they have time to gel.
I think they'll
at least the last 3 weeks of the season, and we only got like 5 weeks left.
Yeah,
I think Randall's just getting rest because if he wasn't, if it was that serious, he would have went for surgery already. Because even though the NBA season is now, there's things after the NBA season.
How long has Randall been out already?
I can estimate 30 days or so.
I mean,
Anunoby can't even lift his hand over his shoulder yet, so we don't know when he's going to get to the point of being able to play full strength. He's not even practicing yet. That's what neither one's practicing. When they come back, it's going to take them 2 weeks to get in shape. There's only 5 weeks left of the regular season.
That's it.
Tick, 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 tick. They're going to need 2 to 3 weeks together to learn how to play with each other again, or they're going to be strangers on that team because those Randall will adjust quicker because he's been on that team. But Anunoby, or whatever his name is, he only had been there 2 or 3 weeks before he got hurt.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a nice story over there. I mean, to see Brunson doing so well, and New York being a great team again, more or less.
Yeah,
I don't see them making a run if they get by one round. I think it'd be
so. If they get healthy quicker, do you think they have a better chance if Randall's been back a couple of weeks before the playoffs?
I mean, I think that would definitely
key element.
Yeah, listen, it'll improve their chances, but I still feel like Cleveland's above them. Milwaukee is above them.
I think it's Boston, Cleveland, Milwaukee right now. If Embiid comes back, Philly.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I would take Philly over New York.
You have to see what happens with. Yeah, I definitely
Philly over New York.
I missed this comment.
Oscar Schmidt.
Yeah.
None of you young bucks are going to remember him, but I will. That has to be Barry that's talking about that.
Yeah.
It just says Facebook user.
Yeah.
Let me look on my page because his name will come up on mine. But do you guys remember who Oscar Schmidt was?
I have no idea who that is.
Back in the days of playing in the Olympics, before the pros were eligible, he played for Brazil. He was the best Olympic basketball player. He was beating the United States by himself, man.
Really?
He was averaging like 37 a game. Oscar Schmidt. He was the best foreign player we had seen. Now, mind you, this was before cable, before the internet.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people wouldn't know. But us diehard fans who watched the Olympics like crazy, and we saw the United States, because we weren't using our pros. He's the reason that they started making pros available, because all the other teams, their pros were playing.
Yeah, right.
But we were winning with our college players. So our ego was like, we're so far. The world has closed the gap. You got people like Luca and Joker. Schmidt was just ahead of his time.
Yeah.
He was like 6'7". He was a sharpshooter. He was like Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Didn't pass as good as Larry Bird, but he was unstoppable.
Well, we would we got a few more minutes, but we definitely got to talk about this.
Yeah, I was looking at the
And,
clock about getting to that myself.
Stampede in the
Yes.
NCAA basketball courts and what's going on, and I mean we're kind of used to things happening, and I mean fans coming on the court. It's always something that we all three of us seen growing up. But there's
We've never
something.
seen people be in danger.
Yeah.
There's been 2 incidents in the last 2 weeks with high-profile players.
Thing is, what are they running to full speed? The court is 90 feet long.
I think they're running to go celebrate with
Excitement.
the team.
Yeah.
And they're running blindly, but Caitlin Clark got run over by a girl. If hers was by far, to me, it looked worse because she was trying to run off the court and the other girl was running and she's looking behind her and the other girl's looking.
Yeah.
And they just ran full speed into each other. That could have ended ugly to a girl who has a chance to become the all-time leading scorer in college sports. She could have been out for the year. She could have suffered a concussion and then had 10-day protocol. And then a week later, Duke basketball, their best player, Kyle Filipowski, and it's always when the team gets upset on the road because nobody's going to storm the court when they. Caitlin Clark, she got hurt on the road, and Kyle Filipowski got hurt. Filipowski had to get cleared a day before the game from concussion protocol. But what was different with his situation is he said they showed film. The coach John Shire of Duke, they showed film of people taking cheap shots at him. Like it was intentional to go after their best players, like hitting them in the ribs, throwing forearms at them. With Caitlin Clark, it was just a train wreck. People.
Before
why is that necessary? And why can't we stop that now?
You
can't storm the court until at least a minute after.
Yeah. So
the game.
I love the court storming in this, obviously I don't want anyone to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an exciting thing. It's an exciting thing to watch from my living room on the couch or to watch, in football, they do it. And I get it. Sometimes they like tear the goalpost down and pass it around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I think it's kind of exciting.
But we've never seen the players in jeopardy.
Yes. So can we maybe try to keep it, you only can storm the court after like a minute or two after the team gets off. I don't know. Security.
1 minute goes up on the clock. If you rush the court or the field before then, just like when you run on the field in the middle of the game, you can be arrested.
Yeah.
Let that 1 minute go. In 1 minute, that team, because if that happens, you're not giving teams, I can't go congratulate you a good game. You know how the two teams meet and congratulate. Then I got to get from congratulating you off the court. So how long is that going to take safely?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, they got to.
You'd have to give them 2 minutes and then say, okay.
The players got to get off the court. But I remember back in the day, Larry Bird. Remember he was trying to like get off the court. People, LA, smothering him. So
and then if you run somebody over, a fan wants to sue you.
Right.
If you're a professional athlete. In college, not so much. I don't think with the Caitlin Clark they were trying to hurt her, but when I watched the Kyle Filipowski one, I agree. I felt like those kids were taking cheap shots at him, and he twisted his knee and didn't know if he was gonna. He had several injuries. He twisted his knee, hit his head when he fell.
Yeah,
I'm surprised like people would try to do that because like with cell phones and with all like the cameras we have, I mean,
well, they were caught on film doing it
because they could get sued. That can be an assault if you're punching someone or whatever, right?
It's the thing is there's a lot of students at those college games.
He was getting,
and they don't realize
he was a pinball. He got hit by 4 or 5 different people.
Their actions at a game is it's a school activity, similar to what they do.
Cal back in the day with the band, remember?
Yeah.
The band is on the field. The game wasn't even over yet. The tuba dude's running over the kicker.
So this is something people have been doing forever. It's part of it
until somebody gets hurt. Somebody that's part of the game. Well, somebody's in the hospital with a concussion,
right?
Or a broken rib or something.
I don't want to see anyone get hurt.
In some games, you see where they have security along the baseline, both sidelines.
But they don't do that in college. That's why I think we see it more in college than the pros.
Yeah, I've seen it in college where like the staffs usually towards the end of the rival games, you'll see them probably 3 or 4 on each side of the basketball hoop, right? and then they all threw out the sideline. I mean, it can happen, staffing, but there has to be some kind of a penalty
Mm-hmm.
that needs to happen. And these students, they're paying for school, and their actions at a basketball game could definitely.
I like what our
Get
boy
them.
Mr. Davis said about why it happens, because I can understand that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's not mean spirited, but that's their school, and they want to feel like they were part
Yeah,
of the
they're
win.
just-
Like
yeah.
we won, not just the team won.
Yeah, I want to get
Our
it.
school
You
won.
want to get in the paper with your hands up
Yeah.
like this, and
I mean, it's exciting.
yeah,
I mean, it's exciting for these kids. They follow the team. They know some of the players from school, whatever. So it's just an exciting time, right? I mean, we're fans of our teams from home.
Yeah.
These kids go to these universities. They're part of the fabric
Living
there,
with them for like 40
Right.
years.
That's what I'm saying.
and
So-
it's the one thing that
But I like
they
the
all
idea.
do on campus, right? We're
Right.
going to the game today.
Right.
You give them a minute to
You know.
get off the court. If in most games, if the team that's supposed to win won, it's not. It's only when it's an upset or it's a
Right.
championship.
Right.
So if
100%.
you know that it's that type of game with that type of atmosphere, you tell the other team you got 1 minute to get off the court. So maybe you
Right.
cut the congratulations short, or
Right.
you do it in the press conference. But if your safety's first priority, we know the barnstorming's coming, the court storming's coming.
Right.
Shake hands real quick, 30 seconds, and then 30 seconds get off the court. Because when you know the crowd's coming. So if you choose to stay on the court, you're putting yourself
Right.
in jeopardy.
Yeah, and it's not always the opponent, right? Because even the home team or the victorious team can get hurt too.
Yeah, people are
because,
running
like
reckless.
you
They're
said, people
looking
are
for somebody to
blinded.
celebrate
Right.
with.
So, but I hope that they do something. My suggestion is just more staff along the perimeter of the court and see what happens with that. But then again, I mean, you got thousands and hundreds of people coming at you. They're all storming at you. 25 to 40 people around the court is probably not going to stop.
Yeah.
them,
What's that going to do?
Yeah.
Listen, no one needs to get hurt. That is like the biggest thing. But I just, I do enjoy it in the sense of like March Madness. These guys hitting,
Right around the corner.
game winning 3-pointer at the buzzer. I mean, shit, people are so excited about it, right?
Yep.
So
I don't
I
know if
can't
you
wait.
got Charlie is. I don't know if Derek remembers. You remember when Jim Valvano won the championship?
yeah,
He was running around
in a circle.
Dog, he was
Yeah, in a
looking for
circle.
somebody
Right.
to celebrate.
Right.
Hey,
You know,
right,
hey. And then he finally found Derek Whittenburg. But everybody was already celebrating with somebody else.
Yeah,
He was
right,
like, "Oh, that one's
right.
already hugging some." Oh. It's a form of euphoria.
Yeah.
Right.
You just kind of zone out.
Right.
Mhm.
The people who played and the people who are celebrating. I do believe with Robert Davis's comment, they feel a part of the victory. It was us who won. It wasn't the team represented us.
Right.
We're the fans. We when we talk about our teams, I'm doing it right now. Oh, we'll beat you guys tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, you ain't playing.
Yeah.
But we include ourselves in the
Yeah.
we're gonna beat you guys tomorrow.
Right.
Watch when we play you
Yeah.
in Boston.
Yeah.
You're on the Bucks, you're on the Celtics. No, but we include ourselves in that.
We sure do.
It's a fun part of the game. That's the part that I'm afraid is going to miss if the NBA and the NFL doesn't get a hold of these rising ticket prices and start giving the fans back value. Raise your ticket prices. Everything goes up, but don't lower the value. And if these star players aren't going to play like they are in the NBA, then they need to be reimbursed, because then I feel like the NBA is going to feel it in their pockets and say, "Oh, we don't want to give back money. We've already made these millions. I don't want to
Right.
give back a couple $100,000."
Well, I mean, I'm already boycotting because anytime they have a game and it's some pay per view or I gotta have some subscription to watch a game, I ain't watching that game.
Right.
I'm totally not watching
I'm
it.
with you.
And that's one of the things we got to start doing, because now even Amazon's making another offer again, so they can get some kind of the football
Oh yeah, 'cause
NFL
Amazon
contract.
Prime took over Thursday nights. There was a
Yeah,
lot of people
so-
upset about that, but they made, you know why? Because the advertisers are going to. NFL is the biggest marketer. They have the highest viewership for regular season. We won't even talk about the Super Bowl. That's the highest viewed thing in the whole
Yeah.
world, more than the World Cup.
It's crazy.
One game.
It's crazy.
So the advertisers will spend more money if they're reaching more people. So I forgot what the viewership was of the Super Bowl, but those ads were $7 million for a 30-second commercial.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it's worth it to them
Yeah.
because 240 million people watch that broadcast, and you only need a small percentage of them to buy your product a few
Right.
times, be familiar with your product, and make that money back. 7 million, well, hell, 240 million saw our commercial. If we get 1/4 of that,
Right. There it
that's
is.
60 million.
Yep.
And my product's $10. 60 million
Yeah.
times 10, and 10 is being nice.
Right.
None of those people that are advertising their product costs 10 because you have to have money. That's the car dealerships.
Mhm.
That's the beer commercials, the food they're the ones that have multi-billion-dollar industries that can afford to spend millions to advertise.
Exactly. Well, I think this was great tonight. I mean, I appreciate being with you guys. I'm glad. Brian,
I like having different perspectives.
yeah.
Like, we may agree or disagree, but everybody's respectful to everybody else's opinions. We bring up the good and the bad. We look at everything from both sides,
Mhm.
and we didn't really play homer roles.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like you put it out there, and my thing is to see how people respond. Like, do you agree with what we're
Yeah,
saying?
right,
You disagree,
exactly.
make your point.
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
but it's back and forth dialogue or debate, but it's not argument, and it's not we can talk freely without and agree or disagree without people taking it personal.
Yeah, it's great when you have the interaction. It really, when I'm podcasting, I love the interaction. It really makes the
I
show
always
go.
want more phone calls and more
Yeah,
comments and stuff like that. Like, I always look up there. I'm always looking at the screen to see who's going to make a comment that either agrees with us or disagrees with us or whatever. If they don't want to refund your money, then give it back in free food and drinks. Yeah, but the NBA doesn't control the owners control the arenas.
Yeah, but it's this sports show is like I said, one of my favorites. I get a huge satisfaction of
It's an adrenaline
being at
rush.
home, and I watch you guys on my big screen. I'm enjoying the show back and forth, especially with your show also. It's so nice to just sit there and laugh or get into some serious talks more so on your show.
And it gives us a chance to be on that end of it.
Yeah.
Because now we're listening and we're asking the questions or something,
And so, in fact, why don't you both mention your shows, and you want to, I don't know, if you want to talk about.
Well, we're here now, so I think we mentioned our show.
Okay.
Point every Thursday night.
Yeah.
No matter what cast of characters we have, we're going to put out a good product. And, thank you for watching us. And, we look for your continued support. Now, Sunday's a little bit different show, but we'll let Derek handle that.
Yeah, Sunday nights, 7, we go 7 to 9. We talk a little, we talk social issues, generally. Entertainment, stuff that's in the news, stuff that's trending. Could be politics, could be anything trending socially in our world. We had a great show with Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
We had, we talk immigration, we talk, different things that's happening in our society. So Sunday nights at 7, we have a diverse cast. Berto is on there. Joe Carrion, Jasmine is on. So we got
and you
and me, right? So we have different backgrounds. We were raised differently, so it's we come at it with
different
a different
perspective,
different points of view, and we go back and forth a little bit.
And I like that. And just getting that crew, that collaboration amongst all four of you, it's great because
they all have different experiences.
It did like like Berto will come out with something, and then the Jasmine's like hitting him on the back of the head, y'all coming at him, Joe will come at him, and I just like that. You guys exceeded what I expected. I thought that it was going to be good, but I think that it's getting greater every week. Every single week, you guys are getting better and better.
I appreciate you saying that because I feel that too. Yeah. Like I feel like it's evolving.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's getting better. Like I'm for sure getting more comfortable. Like in my role, even sitting here, I'm comfortable. Where a year ago I probably would have never done it. So it's like this is new to me, but I'm enjoying it, and I do feel that it is getting better and better.
I don't know if you have the same experience on Sunday night, but the element here when me, Brian, and Derek are doing it, we're having a conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it doesn't seem high pressure. You don't see a bunch of cameras on you. You kind of feel like you're just talking amongst friends, and that makes doing this a lot easier.
Right.
So hopefully you're having that same experience on Sunday nights where when people talk about it, you're like, well, I don't know if I want to talk to a bunch of people and have them see me on Facebook. I forget it's on Facebook.
Right.
I just feel like I'm talking to you
Yeah.
guys, and then I read the screen
Yeah.
and realize, oh yeah, there's other people listening.
So I think that's part of me getting comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I think initially I was like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
now it's like, whatever. You don't,
How
I don't
much
pay
do I
attention
talk?
to
When
that.
do I jump
Yeah.
in? But you start learning, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I'm gonna I'll definitely download this, put this on Spotify for you guys, on my Spotify channel.
And guys, I can't tell you how much I like the team effort of two of our members had other commitments today. Brian was busy doing something with Dartmouth High, and unfortunately, Derek Kahn was attending a friend of ours, Cy Medeiros' wake today. And you guys were so quick to step up, so we
Yeah.
didn't miss a beat. All it took was a couple of texts and phone calls. These are our topics. Anybody want to add none?
Yeah.
And then it's conversation.
I'm just a firm believer not canceling shows. You shouldn't.
You know how I feel
You
about
got to
that.
try to.
I have to come by myself. I'll
Yeah.
come by. I got to learn to work though.
Yeah. You.
I hate canceling shows because I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
I appreciate you asking me to come on, and it was a pleasure.
Oh,
And,
that was
and
a
the
great
talk.
move.
Derek learned in a week, so you need to do the same thing.
Wait, Derek knows how to run this?
Yep.
Oh, we don't need you next time, Brian.
I don't
Oh,
care.
Derek.
You
I
know,
have nobody hassling
I
me,
didn't really
telling me my
want to.
team
I
stinks.
didn't want to be this close to you anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
You already made me do calisthenics before the show started.
Yeah,
I had
that's
to
right.
get up
Get
and
up,
run like
get up,
12
get up.
times.
Brodo wasn't there our last show.
Yeah.
He wasn't?
No.
Sunday?
Yeah. So I had a cheat sheet about these buttons, you know.
That's all right. But you know the reason I didn't learn it yet? Because I know we're getting ready to switch over, and I don't know if that's going to change something. That was something we were talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
We're going to a bigger server,
Yeah, right.
and that bigger server is going to require us. Eventually, it's going to be easier to operate, but it's different than. So I don't want to learn something short
And
term
then change it.
to have to learn something again
Yeah,
in a month.
yeah.
So I know Brian's doing the study now, and he's learning more about it. And then once he understands it to a T, he'll break it down to us. Now, once that new server's in place, I want to come in and learn it as soon as possible
Yeah.
because there might be a day where you can't make it or you can't make it, and I don't like to cancel.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's easy.
And
It is, but I'll make a cheat sheet.
Yeah.
and by you knowing this, knowing the system, and say both of them can't come in, at least you can come in and operate everything, and it will still be straight to the point sports talk, but it will just be you. You can be in there, right?
Yeah.
But my thing is, I feel like just like with the Sunday night show, with your show, we're trying to build a brand.
Yeah.
And the brand needs consistency.
Mhm.
We don't want people. There's been a couple of times I've seen the negative criticism because people look forward to seeing us,
Yeah.
and we've canceled the show, no warning.
Right.
I'm so against that.
Right.
I really,
Yeah.
really am. I want the show to go on in some capacity, no matter who's there, so that people know every Thursday I'm tuning in because I know there's going to be a show. It goes up my behind sideways when we just cancel altogether.
Yeah, you can't.
It's like a little kid. I'm sitting at home
Very
out and
important.
throwing stuff
right,
at the wall
Right.
because I feel like I let the people down that support us.
It's like the NBA players when they
Yeah,
don't show up to play.
We're not going to give Brian a max contract if he misses more than 2 shows. And
No.
Derek, I don't know, he's load managing. Now Derek has a real good. They both have good reasons to,
Yeah.
but sometimes life happens.
Life
But
happens.
I just hate canceling.
Yeah.
I plan my week and I say nothing bother me on Thursday.
Right.
Whatever day we got to do, it's got to be different than Thursday.
Yeah, and but I'm usually available, and I'll fill in as much as I can for you, and but we're doing good things. WMB1 Radio is definitely doing some great things, and Derek mentioned about Frequency Live. Steve was straight to the point. My podcast, Really Charlie Podcast. We have Luxury Tax. They're doing their thing. They're going to kind of hit us with a bang.
Yeah, they're
once
getting
all
ready
their
to wrap up and get ready to
episodes,
present
yeah.
the whole season. But
So-
it's going to be like Netflix when they drop
Yeah.
it. Like every episode comes on
Boom.
at once.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
break out the popcorn, right?
They're up to some interesting things.
yeah.
I look up and see them in some interesting places, and I know they're not done. I know they got
Yeah.
another road trip coming up real soon out of state.
That's it.
But they're, Vegas and, Boston, New York, like they're moving. They're moving.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Look forward to that.
It's going to be good. And they talked about some other things coming into the station, so it's going to be great. But I'm pretty sure Brian and Margarita will broadcast that. All right, we're coming to a close, and we went 1 minute over, but
You
that's
guys
good.
are getting no overtime. Matter of fact, what you get on the Real Charlie podcast, and what you get on Sunday night, double it.
Double
Yeah.
it.
Double it for
Okay.
that 1 minute open.
All right.
Just double it, man.
Man,
There's no limits here. We'll just double.
I could
Or-
buy
or-
McDonald's tomorrow just
Yeah.
like you.
I was on
You
the
did
to buy
today?
McDonald's, but I'm a little disappointed. I think Brittany had pointed this out on Facebook. What the
That's-
hell's going on
yeah.
with the cups upside
Yeah,
down?
that's
I saw
crazy.
that.
I thought I was seeing things. I went to go take a sip, and I was like, "Yo, why I got a W? I didn't go to Wendy's." And I was like, "Who's in charge of you have one
Yeah.
job? Put the labels
Yeah,
on there."
Yeah. I don't know. You say you don't want cheese and you get cheese. So that's McDonald's. for
Well,
you.
before we go, we know we touched on it earlier. In the not too distant future, we got the comedic hypnotist Frank Santos Jr. Yo, the requests have been crazy, people. We're not trying to sell you smoke, but in 2 weeks, when we tell you there's no more tables and no more chairs, don't say I thought I had time. This isn't like the shows we do every month. This is a special event. And then fast forward a month later, we're doing a Taurus affair. We have several people, including myself, whose birthdays are in May. And we've already booked our headliner, Smokey Suarez. He hasn't been here in about 3 years.
Mhm.
Smokey's big time in the comedy world. That's going to be May 4th. Also at the Whaler Inn in New Bedford in the Grand Ballroom. Smokey's been in stuff like Paper Soldiers and a lot of the movies that like the iconic black movies. He's been in there. He's a national known comedian. He has his last tour. It was a couple of dollars tour because he has a whole skit about it's only a couple of dollars. So he's that couple of dollars guy. As soon as we announced him, people were throwing that verbiage out there. I saw my boy Billy Mack do it and a couple other people. I got a couple of dollars for that show, like saying it in his voice. We got some other things brewing too that hopefully we'll finalize in a week or two. But we're doing some live events, going forward. It's not going to be the same thing. We got comedy shows, hypnotist shows, live music shows. We got some things happening. So we're looking to be involved in the community and provide some good entertainment for people to come out and enjoy. New Bedford needs more things happening, and we're trying to do our part.
All right.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And just to put a little plug out there, I'm doing a documentary on Keith Francis, star athlete at New Bedford High School. Went on to Boston College and also ran track at Boston College. Did trial, I believe it was 1976 Olympic team. Almost made the Olympic team. And that's someone that was from New Bedford. He passed away after battling cancer a few years back. And and he was one of my mentors. So I'm going to try to create a documentary, and it will be under the name of the Wind Down Productions.
Uh-oh.
And Wind Down
Collaboration.
Productions is leveling up and moving on, and I'm just doing my part, and there's many other things and other stories that are going to come out. I just happened to get some extreme motivation by Berto Carter and the plans, and once he told me something, I just ran with it, and Keithy Francis is a good thing for me, and it will be a good documentary. So anyone out there that wants to get interviewed, just get in touch with me, and I would gladly sit down and get you interviewed and put you on some film. Film. That's how old I am.
Yeah.
It would actually be downloaded on an iPhone.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be done through an iPhone.
Nice.
So, just like Usher. Usher still your girlfriend yet?
I hope. It's not bad being single.
Yeah.
I like the single life.
I'm keeping Usher away from my wife,
Yeah.
man.
I'm actually sending my daughters because their birthdays are a week apart.
Yeah.
And it's August 20th and 27th. And 28th. And he's coming the 27th and 28th.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm going to get my daughters tickets to go see that because with all the new artists that's out there, they still go to concerts to see the old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see none of these young kids really. I don't even know who these artists are right now. But
remember when Brian said about Usher and Kiki, Williams, or what's her?
Kiki Wyatt?
No.
Oh, the
Keke
one who
Wyatt.
went on stage and
Yeah.
the husband got mad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and Brian, I remember him saying about keep Usher away from your girl, But I don't know. Alicia Keys, Not too.
She was
Forget it.
secure, and Swiss Beats was secure.
Yeah,
It's Usher just got married recently.
Yeah.
yeah,
Usher is really not trying to bag nobody, but sex appeal sells.
yeah.
Right.
So you have to.
It's
play up to
entertainment. Yeah, it's entertainment.
Yeah, it's part of the
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah.
They're mature enough to know that, but people are always looking for an angle to spot controversy.
Right.
So
Right. Part of it.
Actually, wasn't it? Yeah, that was Berto's guy. Him and
Yeah, Berto loves
Berto and his brother were Sterling were battling versus Chris Brown and Usher. I'm gonna check that out. That was a good podcast.
Yeah.
They did a good job on that. All right, everyone. This is WNB1 Radio and straight to the point sports. That's what it was. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so we got Derek with an I here. We got Steve Lopes. If he was down south, they call him Lopez.
they call me Lopez anyway.
All right. Yep. So,
Can't win.
and I'm Charlie Perry. Tune in to all the shows. And don't forget to download WNB1 Radio to your devices, Apple and Android. And feel free to jump on the website, WNB1.com. That's WNB1. Spell it the word one.com. And we got tickets available.
Online.
We got everything.
Get
So
those Frank Santos Jr. tickets now.
and I got 50 to sell. So don't see Steve, see me.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right, y'all. Thank you.
All right.